Do we have any Nagas out there that like to watch cartoons? Grown Nagas that like to get their cartoon watching on? Only when you earn it, though. Only when you earn it, my Naga. Welcome back to the Negro Cities of Gold. Before we get cartoony, we have to solve a mystery, man. We have to solve a mystery, and this one goes out to my Aqua Shamar, man, because she's been on an investigation. I mean, Hawaii's been popping her off for real, for real. All right, let's go. There's no easy way to do this. Let's talk about Hungary, man. Believe it or not, Hungary is going to lead us right to this Esteban situation, man. It's going to lead us right to these cities of gold. There's a lot of Stevens, man. Will the real Steven please stand up? Stevens popping off all over the place in the timeline. Now we are talking about a Saint Stephen of Hungary. Here's what Hungarians celebrate on August 20th. Okay. A sense of national belonging, listening to and caring for each other will be reflected in the programs of August 20th. Here's the history behind August 20th that makes it so important for Hungarians around the globe. Every year on August 20th, Hungary celebrates the establishment of the Hungarian state. This has got to do with Esteban. Okay. And the country's more than 1,000-year-old history. This is how it all began. Hungary's very first king of the Huns, the very first king of Hungary. They're calling King Saint Stephen. Was the only son of Grand Prince Giza and his wife Sarah or Sarah. While both of his parents were in fact baptized, Stephen was the first member of his family to become a dedicated Christian. Okay. So, in all three cases of the three Stephens, we're going to call this the three Stephens for now because it might be more. But we're looking at these parallel timelines in history, using the dragonfly perspective, looking at it from Anatoly Fomenko perspective. Three major chronological time shifts. Remember, 333 years, 1,053 years, and 1,778 years. Those are the three major ones, but there's a bunch of minor ones. There's 1,400 year shifts. There's 200-year shifts. There's 700-year shifts. We're like for the Manco, like the Russian chronographer, right? Because we're talking Hungary, you might as well be talking Russia. You might as well be talking the Russian frescoes, man, the Russes on fire. But in their Christianity, I mean, all three Stevens, have everything to do with what they're calling Christianity, right? You got the first Stephen, well, not the first, but if I go back in their timeline, you got this, let's see if I got him up here. Stephen the Martyr. I'm gonna skip around to him and get back to the Hungary flow because I want to see what they do on August 20th. But you got this Stephen, right? Stephen the Martyr, whose name means crown. Deacon of the early church of Jerusalem and proto-martyr, first martyr. So we got a bunch of firsts going on. One is the first king of Hungary, right? This one is the first martyr. All right. I've never paralleled The Hungary flow. My aqua was like, yo, you missing out on the Hungary flow. Shamar got a naga popping off. Allahu drop nation, because you all popping off. We all popping off. Because we want the truth. This is my naga. Come on in here, man. Come on in here, man. Hold up, man. I got the fire still burning. Do we got the fire still? Okay, we got the fire still burning. Come on in here, man. See, I don't do drops for you to get real quick. And then, no, just come over here and get these drops, man, when you're ready, man. When you're ready to get cozy and listen, I know the attention span of Nagas is shortening, they say, but not these Nagas. These Nagas need that full drop. We'll drop some shorter drops here and there and keep it flowing. But my Naga, you need these drops. You need a Naga to talk on you, man. You need Nagas to do this recon on you, man. Tribing up with you, man. This St. Stephen investigation is very important, because I'll let you in on it if you're just joining us. The theory is this. Here's the Drop Nation theory, at least what we've been building with, right? Follow me now. Esteban is Stephen, is their St. Stephen. They just pushed it back in the timeline and created another martyr story. Esteban al-Zamori, Esteban the Moor, was also martyred, but right here in New Mexico. Although some say he just snuck away. But he still became their martyr, and they still venerate this Esteban that just popped off in the 1500s in America with their Esteban churches. They're not venerating the old St. Stephen. They're venerating Esteban, man. The Moor is being venerated. And it's funny, we're going to get this link talking about how, I guess, the current state of Morocco kind of distanced themselves from this Esteban to an extent. I mean, at least on paper, they have to. Because if he's the Moor and they all know he's a brother, right? He's a brother. He looks like a black man, right? They can't really claim him like that, even though they changed his image in the cartoon we about to watch. They can't really claim him because they want Morocco today to be all super light-skinned Morocco. They don't want no, dark skin. That's how much has gone on paper, or at least in the puppet show. This is what it's looking like. But we know behind the scenes who's running the show. It's the same more and more war. This Morocco, right? But Morocco's in America, remember that, This is the pieces we put together and say, if you're from Morocco, that means you're from here. And what's the real story? Were you a slave and they called you Esteban, but your name's really Mustafa, al-Zamori, all that? al-Zamori? Or are you leading this campaign? And we might have a slimmer of evidence, right, to this particular possibility that Esteban the King was leading this campaign, this Moor campaign against Judah, against Israel right here in America. Which ain't saying nothing crazy, because they even admit that, even though the Moorish will say, yeah, we know it's a more and more war. We know we was up against David and them. We know we was up against Joshua and them. This ain't nothing new. Yeah, but to weave it, at least through the thread of consciousness, that this is their JC. This is their Jesus, man. This is their Jesus. This is their Christ. They created a timeline to act like it's some ancient Jesus of 5 BC, died 33 AD. But this Esteban, hey, I mean, the deeper this gets, the crazier this gets. You got a Saint Stephen that supposed to have died 34 AD, right? And Christ died 33 AD. And they're rocking together. One's the apostle, and yada, yada, yada. This is how they're weaving the story. Love to yourself, a lot of typology, a lot of, you know what I'm saying? Just straight up hijack. Reflections, duplications. He's the crown. He's the one wearing the crown. He's the king. Stephen means king. They say they renamed him from Mustafa to Esteban. Why would you rename a slave king, man? Why would you rename him crown? They don't ever give us them type of names, man. So they had to distance them today because they don't want, the Moroccan to look like that. But in reality, everyone is real quiet about Esteban. No one really wants to talk about Esteban al-Zamori. And al-Zamori, you have to address it. You don't have to say you was rocking with it, but we know you was rocking with it. We know what the Chickamauga Wars taught us. The Kumse Wars taught us. The Kumse trying to tribe them up, but they was already confederate against us. Noble Drew Ali, no, he's tribing up the Canaanites, the Moabites, and them. It's a tribal war. We can all admit to the truth. No one's bashing nobody. We just saying what happened. What tribe was Esteban rocking with? He's from Morocco. Was he from Moab? Can we get to the next point? And is this child of the sun from Moab popping off with his lesser powers, being treated like Christ, venerated? Did he have the magical power to turn St. Christopher from a dog-headed to give a temporary cure for his gout, his syphilis, his sinusitis? We're going to just connect quickly to all this because we need to solve a mystery. Is Stephen their Christ? Is this their Jesus, man? Jesus, man. Child of the sun? Or we're just talking Zeus in the flesh? He's the first black conquistador. Another link we're going to pull up. And this is the receipts we got. He's the first, they call him the first black conquistador. They literally call him that. We know what a conquistador is to the indigenous American or any indigenous across the plain. We know what a conquistador is. You over there happy with your land that Hawaii gave you. Here comes some hijacks to invade you, steal your women, murder your men, murder your priests, steal your children. That's a conquistador. He's the first black one, but he's supposed to be a great black African. The first great African to set foot in America. That's your story. He's a slave. He looks like a nigga. King Charles looks like a nigga. They all look like the same nigga. But he's a slave from Morocco, but the Moors are in control. They can't enslave themselves, my people. Even if there's different factions of them, good Moors, dirty Moors, these Moors, y'all still got to claim this shit. Don't sweep it under the rug. You got to claim Esteban. You got to claim to be the conquistador of the indigenous. So when you're claiming to be Native American, how can you be the conquistador and the Native American? I'll wait. Say it with me. Body bag for the illusion. You can't be the conquistador, which is why you push Moroccan Esteban the Moor, Stephen the Black to the side. Oh, they have to say he was kidnapped and enslaved and converted to Christianity and Catholicism. And yeah, he wasn't rocking with us. He used to be a Muslim, but not no more. Now he's a Christian. We know there ain't no difference. We know you got the same power. And none of them is Hawa. None of them is the power of Israel. Hasharah. None of the powers in your doctrines is the creator. These were false gods, repackaged, remixed, duplicated. So we got a bunch of duplications happening. You got Stephen the Martyr, dying in 34 AD. You got this Hungary situation popping up. Was that 900 and something? Whoa. Now you're dangerous. You're in dangerous territory. First black king. You can't say he ain't a black king because you're talking about royalty in 900, 1000, 2000. These are dark ages, man. These are the dark ages. Can't say he's not a Naga. First Naga king of what they call Hungary today. But they're still in the history from 1,000 years ago. Where was Hungary then? Who are the Huns? Who are these Khans? Is Esteban Zamori connected to the house of Genghis Khan? The house of old Charlesy boy, old black ass King Charles. Old Charles, he came to get longitude and latitude. This is before they did the treaties of pieces and friendship with more invaders, gave them the invader title. Hey, y'all the strong man, white people, you white people, but they speak in fork languages. They know what white means, man. You know what white means? Wait, which white we talking about? Because it's a fork language. They are WIGHT. That means a monster. That means a demon. WIGHT. Look up the difference between that and WHITE. You want the classification as white? Well, you better choose your white. White's a status. Oh, well, that's pure. Pure is a status that can only be given by Hawaii. Y'all can't be the conquistador. You can't get behind Esteban. You can't do that and claim to be indigenous here, man. And you can't be migrating in Ishmael in the 1700s, joining the enemy, fighting against the Kumse and the Chickamauga, joining the Kentuckians, man. Yeah, we know. They just went to Kentucky, joined the Kentuckians, fought against the indigenous tribes here to take it, man. It was a takeover. It's been a takeover. Back to Atlantis. This all goes back to Atlantis. The dog-headedness goes back to Atlantis. Apollo cursed these people with dog-headedness because they wanted to worship King Alcathous as a god. We read about the shepherd Cephalus, man. The holy tree, Guaiacum, or Mercury, you decide how you want to get your cure through Mercury, Tahuti, Thoth. We don't recognize that cure because we don't recognize your dog-headedness. Y'all had to come get that Guaiacum. Y'all had to come get that holy tree in South America. You had to come over here and get the holy cure for your dog-headedness, man. Did Esteban cure Saint Christopher of his dog-headedness? And is Esteban the martyr the same as Esteban of Hungary? And is Esteban of Hungary the same as Esteban al-Zamori, the first black conquistador who was martyred in New Mexico? Ooh, two martyrs. Was the Hungarian king martyred too? Look at the timeline. When is happening? 5 AD to 34 AD. That's pretty much year one. The other one's popping off 900 something. That's like 1,000 years apart. Then you got Esteban in the 1500s. Look how they're pushing back this Stephen. Now it's just Stephen the Martyr. Let's go. This is the type of stuff we're going to talk about. Stephen the Crown, man. He earned the enmity of various synagogues by his teaching. So check this out before we get back to the Hungary flow and back to our cartoons, man. He earned the hate, the enmity, the hate of the synagogues, right? Of these Jews. Now they're in the New Testament. I need you to ignore that for a second and just think about a story that's being repeated. So here comes Esteban with his decorations of death to the indigenous Nagas in Arizona, in New Mexico, all throughout America. He's bringing these conquistadors with him. He's the first black conquistador, right? He's bringing them Zeus. He's bringing them false idols. He's bringing them false teaching. What do? They put him down in New Mexico. What do they do to Stephen the Martyr? He gets stoned. They twist the story and say it's because he's standing by his faith. Your faith is false idols, idolatry, Jesus, Yahweh. Go through the Son to get to the Father, right? The Son God is all we talking about. The child of the Son is Esteban. They're venerating him. Since JC did not exist, he's a duplication. But we just talking Zeus, right? He's Zeus. And I'm saying Zeus in the flesh popped it off right over here, man. It might have got away because there's no evidence that he really got, you know, martyred. They say he could have slipped away with some other Indians, man, right? So, all right. At his trial, Stephen gave a long speech criticizing the Jewish authorities who were judging him, right? This is a take on the Hebrews that Esteban is trying to, convince that they should listen to his new doctrine, his new tune, and give away their ancient love song. Trying to convince them, of course, they are having enmity, hatred towards an idolater coming in if the Jewish are the Hebrews in America. I'm saying this is happening in America, boss. But they push the story back. Remember the time shifts, 300 years, 1,000 years, and 1,800 years. They push this back to damn near year one when it could have been popping off. This is our theory. Remember, I said Drop got a theory. It could have been popping off 1,500 years, prior. They pushed stuff back 1,800 years, according to Anatoly Fomenko. We're talking Scaliger, Batavius, man. So come on, man. Come on, rock with a knock on this. This is a mystery. Is this Stephen the Martyr the same as Estebanico? And is it the same as this Hungary situation? Aqua Shamar, take the wheel. I mean, what's really real? Let's go, man. Let me get cozy. It's about to get good. I'm gonna go quickly because we've been popping off on this, and this is amazing. And I got a lot to share. So, and we want to watch cartoons. All right, so let's go. All right, so they all somehow get turned on to Christianity, right? So 3 Stevens, 3 Christians. Let's go. First king, Saint Stephen, also what they say saint, or it looks like a translation of it. Esteban is Esteban. Okay. Esteban is Esteban. All right, let's go. Son of the Grand, wait, was the only son of Grand Prince Giza. Now this came up in one of these Genie, searches, and sometimes we like to jump in Genie. Only when I'm getting real serious, though. Yeah, trying, I mean, because you know how we do. But and trust me, it all comes back to the Exilarch because this is the leader of these Hebrews during these captivities. He's the son of Prester John, right? Son of Roger here, Roger Prester John. This is dated 1200. Now the Hungary flow gets closer to this, gets closer to Kalelu's flow. 900. I mean, we got Kalelu's artifacts coming out of Arizona, dated 800 AD, 700 AD. Remani, Hebrew, Davidic war kings, man, warriors and queens, of course, like Hannah, like Lady Hannah. And these are titles. Hanan is Anan, like Ania. I mean, look out for Presto 103. We just getting started. We just are starting to turn the batter so we can bake the cake. So now we're cooking with non-spiral. Let go. All right, check it. So I never done this, but man, I mean, y'all picking that. Y'all let's put Esteban. Esteban. Just gonna put Esteban. You know, give me a bunch of Estebans. I don't know if I even said that, spelled that right. All right, Esteban. I'm just looking for any important Estebans around this time frame. Um, Obviously we got Esteban Nico. That's 1500s. All right, you got this Roman situation. All right, San Roman could be Romani. You know what I mean? Juan Esteban. All right, Toledo. Just trying to find some leads with. I mean, this is what we do. That's how we got this far, man. Y'all let me know if y'all see something too. You know, leave it in a comment. You know, I'm just seeing what they got on Esteban. They got 5,000 Estebans. You might need to be more specific. I'm just trying to belly flop it to this. All right, let's try this. Esteban. Uh, put Mustafa because they kept saying his name's Mustafa. All right, no Mustafa Esteban. This probably wouldn't be together. Maybe like a Mustafa, what they call him, al-Zamori or something like that. Mm. They got this guy real hidden, man, because we know he's popping off. Hold up, man. Let's try this Esteban link right here. Oh yeah, we about to go in on the dog headed, you know. Hang in there. We're gonna go in the dog headed real soon. Let's try this one, man. All right. So he's also Esteban de Durantes. I'm just gonna put in different variations. See if different things pop up. You gotta be patient with these recons, man. You seeing it in real time, man. Okay, that's not what I want. Hold up. Okay, here we go. Copy. Oh, come on, man. Where my genie go? No Durantes. Okay, all right. What was his other name? Mustafa. Okay, here we go. Boom, boom. And as you can see, this has everything to do with the 7 cities, man. A black Moroccan slave, they say. Okay, just remember that. They're calling him a slave. That's they that's their truth. They gonna stick to it. As a slave in the Spanish Empire, he would have been forced to give consent to convert to Catholicism, be baptized, receive his new Christian name, Esteban. Y'all buying that? He's Stephen now. He's Saint Stephen now. All right. He wanted to discover the seven cities of gold. Look at this picture of him, man. Uh-huh. My naga, my naga. They done bronzed you up, man. Is this what you looking like, Esteban? I don't know, man. So many images. These are all good links, man. We're gonna tap into all these. I'm just digging on his name. Mustafa. Oh, there we go. al-Zamori. Let's get that one. Ooh. All right. How about just Black Steve? All right. Stephen Black? Nah. Probably have to go Saint Stephen. Let's try that one, man. How about Stephen the Christ, man? Hey, we doing our due diligence over here, man. Stephen Moore, man. Oh, just Stephen Moore. I don't know why. Maybe I gotta spell it different. Saint Stephen. Okay, we're getting somewhere. All right, this was connected to the Hungary flow. All right, okay. So we can get some other dates going. Stephen Saint. Uh, so the only lead they're gonna give us is to the Hungary, and that's perfect. It's all good. We're going right back to the recon. Aqua Shamar, man. You see how my Aqua's been digging. So we can at least look at his lineage a little bit. All right. So he's the son of Geza, Arpad Hazi, Grand Prince of the Hungarians. Okay. And he's the son of Taksoni. All right. Taksani, son of Zoltan. Okay. Let's see if stuff started looking familiar around here. Son of Arpad. I don't know why that reminds me of a biblical name, Arpad, Arpad. Okay, maybe. So you got this Arpad Syria connection, ancient city, Syria. All right. Just digging on it. Also, Arphad support a Syrian city near Hamath, along with which it is invariably mentioned Second Kings. All right, all right. I knew that sounded biblical. Let's just put this to the side for a second. So this is where they're connecting with this RFAD flow. Now, was it a person or just a city? I guess is what I'm thinking. It's definitely a play. All these pop-ups is crazy. Gee. Where is the king of Hamath or the king of Arpad? Where are the kings of Lair? Man, where'd they go? Let me see some more. Oh, man. All right, 19. 2 Kings 19:3. When King Hezekiah heard this, he tore his clothes and put on sackcloth and went into the temple of Hawah. He sent Eliakim, El Hawakum, the place or palace administrator, Shebna, Shebna, the secretary, and the leading priests, all wearing sackcloth, to the prophet Isaiah, son of Amoz. They told them, "This is what Hezekiah says. This day is a day of distress and rebuke and disgrace, as when children come to the moment of birth and there is no strength to deliver them." It may be that Hawa, your power, will hear all the words of the field commander whom his master, the king of Assyria, has sent to ridicule the living power, and that he will rebuke for the words Hawa, your power, has heard. Therefore, pray for the remnant that still survives. Let's get ahead to verse 11. Surely you have heard that the kings of Assyria have done to all the countries, destroying them completely, and you will be delivered. Did the gods of the nations that were destroyed by my predecessors deliver them? The gods of Gozan, Haran, Rezeph, and the people of Eden who were in Tel Assar? Where is the king of Hamath or the king of Arpad? Where are the kings of Lair, Sepharvaim, Henna, and Eva? All right. So I mean, clearly, there was some type of op situation happening. We're we're connecting this Esteban line. Okay, we're connecting the Esteban line back to this Arpad flow. Arpad the first is the father of Zoltan. All right, and he's the son of Almos Arpad, dynasty chief of the Magars. Uh, we're gonna get into these Magars. I think Aqua dropped some drop on it. So you see how this starts to connect, and this is why we take our time with it, man. This is why we take our time with it. And this is the Hungary flow. And then we can go forward and see what's happening, right? So let's get it. It's because there's a lot going on. So while both of his parents were in fact baptized, Stephen was the first member of his family to become a dedicated Christian. His birth name was Vok, Vhak, and he received the Christian name Stephen during his baptism. After succeeding his father, Stephen faced a fight for the throne with the relative Kopany, Coppany, a pagan leader. Wait a minute. If if the Christians calling them pagan, then we have to look at it the opposite direction because they are the pagan. You know what I'm saying? So think about it. Dragonfly perspective. The general conflict was one between Christianity and paganism or the Hebrews. Because Doom Diverse is they call us the pagan. We call them the heathen. So the heathen calls us the pagan. Got it? More specifically, it's centered around two different understandings of the line of succession in line with the Christian law of primogeniture or primogeniture. The firstborn son of the ruler, that is Stephen, should inherit the throne, while the ancient pagan notion of seniority supported Kopani's claim for succession. The two relatives engaged in a bloody war, with Stephen finally defeating his enemy with the help of both foreign knights and native lords, right? So he had a whole confederacy to back his claim. Mm. If Stephen wasn't martyred, but the story is being written that he was martyred, and he accomplished such a thing of bringing in these hijacks right to the heart of the promised land, right to Cibola. And let's say he did get away and went back to, or, they hit him in Europe somewhere. Would they venerate him as a king? Would he be lifted up as a king? Obviously, they're still venerating him. So of course he would. I'm just putting the story, in possible context. Is this almost like a story picking up after Esteban's return from the promised land? Is he fighting for his Moabite throne? You know what I mean? Following this clash over the throne, Stephen was crowned either on December 25th. So we're going to hear different connections of this December 25th situation. This is hilarious, man. This is hilarious. Just so the hijack would say that Stephen the Martyr, right? Stephen the Martyr. Where's martyrs? There we go. Stephen the Martyr. They'll say that he's venerated December 26th because they said maybe he was born on December 26th. And then the August 20th thing has to do with maybe his Stephen of Hungary's death, or maybe Esteban died on August 20th. I mean, this all just happened, right? We in August. This just happened. This is a big Esteban time, along with Christmas. You almost have like a summer solstice celebration and then a winter solstice celebration when it comes to Esteban, right? They want a double veneration on Esteban, so they duplicate the story so they can say, "Hey, we do ours for Stephen the Martyr. He died 34 A.D. We do ours for Stephen of Hungary, man. He was crowned December 25th or January 1st. Oh, so it could be New Year's. Wow. So they changed their calendar around, and now you popping off New Year's, which is Esteban Day. Got on. Aqua Shamar got a knocker popping off. December 25th, Christmas. Stephen was crowned. Oh, Jesus was Jesus was born. That's his birthday. Stephen was crowned. I'm talking Hungary, Stephen. And how would you know if they celebrate something from the 900s or something from 34 or 5 BC? What's the difference? 1,000 years, over 1,000 years? They already went back 1,000 years on you. Now you in 900s. They done went back at least 600 years already, 700 years. Then they went back another 700 years. Now you in year one. Another 900 years. You know what I'm saying? Stephen was crowned either on December 25th. Hold up, man. We're going to keep the fire burning, but I'm just going to give it a pause on the piano because I want to show y'all something, man. What do they say about St. Stephen's Day out the Fatima Center? Just a reminder, my Nage, everything's fair use in your caboose bone. We're doing news reporting, comments, criticism, teaching, scholarship, education, and recon. We just doing this for research, education purposes only. Call it entertainment purposes. Why not? Go crazy. Nagas need some entertainment, man. Let's get this entertainment from the Fatima Center. What it do? Let me turn it up for you. I got you. I got you.
Send us your questions, and Father Gruner answers them. And to send us a question, you can do it by email at questions@thefatimacenter.com. And today we have a question about the feasts surrounding Christmas, and that is December 26th. is the feast day of Saint Stephen, the first martyr. And so the question is why do you think that right after Christmas, Saint Stephen is placed here on December 26th?
Well, the Feast of All the Saints doesn't always happen, but often, because sometimes the feast day is already occupied, but the church tries to put the feast of a saint on the day that he died. So if Saint Stephen died the day after Christmas, I mean, it was many years afterwards. Obviously, Christ was born and lived 33 years. And but shortly after that, Saint Stephen.
Okay, so he died the day after Christmas. One Stephen is crowned, another Stephen dies on the same day. And then you got Jesus being born on this day. And then you got Zeus's birthday on this day. Nimrod popping off on this day. Winter solstice day been popping off. We're just pulling back the layers to who they truly are venerating in all these packages. We know his name ain't Stephen. He's Mustafa, like the Lion King from Morocco. One more time. He's talking quick, but one more time.
Christmas, Saint Stephen is placed here on December 26th.
Well, the Feast of All the Saints doesn't always happen, but often, because sometimes the feast day is already occupied, but the church tries to put the feast of a saint on the day that he died. So if Saint Stephen died the day after Christmas, I mean, it was many years afterwards. Obviously, Christ was born and lived 33 years. And but shortly after that, Saint Stephen was the first martyr. So, but it would seem to be that he died on the day of December 26th, the equivalent of that, and transferred to that day. But it could be that sometimes the church transfers a feast for a good reason. And certainly St. Stephen, of all the saints, has a primacy of honor as far as the martyrs. The martyrs are the first witnesses, even before St. James, the first apostle to be martyred, is St. Stephen himself, who was the very first martyr of the faith. All the faithful after Christ ascended into heaven. And so it seems to me quite fitting that St. Stephen should be given that primacy by such an important day after.
Monaco. This is who brought Christianity for real. He's the Esteban converted, Catholicism, all this, they say. But he's a Moor, but he's a slave to the Portuguese, who are all swarthy Nagas. Just put this together, man. I mean, let's put it together, man. Ahab to my aqua, because she popping off for real, for real. I mean, sometimes my Nagas, we gotta see it through the eyes of an aqua. Aqua, can you help us figure this Stephen mystery out? You look like you got wise eye. Where y'all think this aqua from? We're talking Hungaries. We're talking all kinds of stuff, right? This is what I mean, man. They put Stephen in this whole Dark Ages Hungary situation. First king, you got to be a Naga king. Look at all this Naga royalty popping off in Europe. When you go to Esteban the Moor, he's a Moor. You already know what he's looking like. Then they push him way 1,500 years back to Stephen, the martyr, Saint Stephen, the apostle. Now he's an apostle, right? Ooh, Aqua holding something for a Naga. What it do? What you holding, Aqua? Portrait of a black woman holding a clock. That's a fancy clock, Aqua. Previously owned by the Italian painter Carlo Maratta, 1625. named in his inventory as above. So they just call her a black woman holding a clock. I'm sorry, Aqua. I apologize on behalf of Hijack City. Kind of like our Moresca queen, right? From Algiers, Louisiana. Yeah, Aqua. We talk Louisiana. You look like the typical Louisiana Aqua, right? Calm, calm. Upon acquisition by the Walters Art Museum for the exhibit, the African, quote unquote, African presence in Renaissance Europe. So they're letting you know that this woman is in Europe. They're calling her African because of her skin. They're calling her black because of her skin. The name of the painting was changed to Portrait of an African Slave woman. Okay, so now this Aqua's a slave. This Aqua is the royal. They just went around painting their slaves with clocks. This, of course, was done to support the false fantasy history of the albinos, because they had to paint us. They had to paint us into them. Ain't that so, man? When we talk about Esteban being enslaved by these Portuguese, Holy Trinity medal of Maurice, Duke of Saxony. Yeah, Hijack City. Our people were going through Hijack City. Now count all the dark complexions in this photograph, from the top to the bottom. Way to the back, way to the back, way to the front. You got this king on his throne. King of Portugal, my nigga. King of Portugal, my nigga. 1570. Order of Santiago, founded 12th century. That's the story, right? Someone needed to drive back the Moors and the Muslims. Do you think this copper-colored nigga was driving back the Moors? Or do you think it's the same people in different tents? The Moor is the Portuguese. The Moor is the Spaniard. Now the Moor wants to be the Native American. The Moor wants to be the Hebrew. We're talking Iberian, right? King of Portugal. Just remember what these kings are looking like before they tell us that Esteban is some Negro slave in the 1500s. This is the 1500s, man. This is what it looks like. You think they were enslaving a Moor from Morocco? You think a Moor from Morocco was the slave of the Portuguese? This is their story. This is their story, man. The same Portuguese that's looking for Prester John, because this is a Portuguese monument in South Africa, man. They're searching for the Prester for 500 years out of Portugal. Talking about the Prester, my nigga. So it's Naga on Naga, right? I mean, everybody want to be the Naga. The head direction that goose is more on more, right? Black on black, right? When it comes to the royalty, to the hierarchy, you know what I'm saying, that Hawa put down, and all these tribes connected to it, this is what it's looking like. Not that, other, tribes, weren't rocking within these tribes, man, but this is what it was looking like at the top of things. You had Nagas over here with these Ibarus. And then you had this, right? All around America, copper colored races found here. And it's like they put some people on boats as conquistadors too. Remember who's the first black? I mean, you got to put this together, man. Put it together. This is the king of Spain or Portugal. Where's the king of Spain? Let's go up. Come on, man. This is what Portugal is looking like. This is what Spain is looking like. See a bunch of fezzes all over the place. And then they put folk at strawman today that look like they were the conquistadors, right? I mean, but they're hiding from this shit because there's no way to wiggle out of it. They have to admit. King Charles, you have to admit. Yeah, man. Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, you have to admit. Esteban's popping off. They say he died 1539. That means at the same time period, like him and Esteban would be like brothers, man. Like growing up together. And what did his daddy look like? And his daddy, they from Africa too. They from Morocco. Wow. Talking about Spain, Charles V, Holy Roman Emperor. King of Spain. Roman Emperor Charles V. Portrait of an African. Everybody's an African to these painters, huh? Yeah, buddy. So what they do to the rest of these Portuguese in the pictures. In this panel from the painting in the Larco Museum in Lima, Peru, that depicts the Inca Emperors and the subsequent European emperors of the Inca. Look at this brother here, man. So I get a little closer on these. As close as they're going to let me get. Huh? So these are the Inca. Then comes Charlesy boy. This is supposed to be here we see Philip IV of Spain, Philip IV, House of Habsburg. The last Habsburg to reign in Spain was apparently a mulatto. Last Habsburg was the last black king of Spain. Notice something about them, how they started out dark complexion and got recolored into a light Spaniard. So when you think about the indigenous, of these areas today, you think about the repainting image. We're not over here trying to, be on some Afrocentric everything black, everything black. We just saying if it wasn't, why are they repainting it? If this is what the Portuguese looks like before the paint, just copper color, and the Spanish, because the Spaniards are swarthy. Remember the Spokane News? June 25th, 1918? We had many types of Germans around us. Our company captain, a huge German Jew or Hebrew, with a most striking personality, with a skin as swarthy as a Spaniard, and features like an eagle. Like an eagle. His presence was at least commanding. He stood 6 feet 6 tall. Swarthy as a Spaniard, my naga. These are the Spanish kings. Swarthy until they recolor them. That's what the Spaniard looks like. So the Spaniard getting off the boat was looking like a Negro. And they recolored him like a mother, right? Like a mother. This panel depicts some of the last Spanish kings. Oh boy. This is King of Spain, man. He's King of Spain like the other brother's King of Portugal. But Esteban's supposed to be a slave from Morocco. You got to make your mind up. Is he a conquistador? Or is he just some great African that helped them discover the new world? See, if you don't know you're indigenous, that might make sense. Yeah, you helped us discover the new world. Cool, we're all happy to be here in the new world. If you're indigenous, you're like, fool, you invaded me. That's why they're calling you the first black conquistador, man. I mean, last time that I checked. Out of Atlantic Travelers 2.wixsite.com, Esteban, right? Estebanico, born as a Moor, Morocco, 1503. I'm saying this is the Saint Stephen. It's also who they're venerating as the first king of Hungary, and they're all Negro. Mustafa as a Moor. Because even in the story, even if we're going to go with the JC narrative, even he got the feet of bronze, right? Even he's a Negro, right? Even he goes and hides in Africa to hide, from the king, right? He goes and hides in Egypt, right? He's a copper colored person, right? So Stephen would have to be too. Stephen would have to be. Stephen of Hungary would have to be. We're talking the royals of Europe. And as al-Zamori is, he's Mustafa al-Zamori. Better known by his Spanish name, Esteban, condescending nickname, Estebanico, which means crown, right? Began his journey when he was forced into slavery. By who? Sent to Spain? So he was kicking it with Charles in there. This is what Spain's looking like. This is what Portugal's looking like. This is what the Spanish kings are looking like. And this is what Charles is looking like over here, hijacking the Inca line. Unless the Inca were also Moab. I mean, maybe they just, doing strategic battle change. I don't know. But some tell me they getting hijacked here. I don't think they just said, ooh, King Charles, here you go. A panel from the painting in Larco Museum in Lima, Peru. This panel shows the last 7 Inca emperors and the subsequent first European emperor. This is what a European look like, man. Spanish or Portugal, Spanish or Portuguese, because you are swarthy as a Spaniard. Swarthy means dark skin, black, copper color, red ruddy. Swarthy as a Spaniard, my night. Right in our face bone, a bunch of swarthy Spaniards. Can't make this stuff. And they all look like they're holding some gold bars, huh? Like they just got some gold, huh? These Nagas, these Negroes, these black people, these swarthy people got some gold. Look at them, man. Look at them, boss. Yeah. This painting can be dated circa 1800 because the last 2 entries are Carlos Tercero, Charles III, as well as the 24th Inca Emperor, and his son Charles Quarto IV. House of Bourbon. As the 25th Inca Emperor Charles IV reigned as King of Spain from December 14, 1788. King of Spain, right? All right. So when I hear anyone mention anything about Spain, you better look at the real depiction of things. Portugal, you better look at the real depiction of things. And you ask yourself a question. Is Esteban al-Zamori, is he a captive of these Moors? Are the Moors putting themselves into captivity? Right? That's a fair question, right? This is what Esteban is looking like when he's marching them towards or through this Grand Canyon. You know what I'm saying? A part of their findings in the Coronado expedition is the Grand Canyon. Although it wasn't him personally, it was some of his people, right? So look at him. He looks just like Charles in them, man. And all of them are swarthy, man. And they're hijacking an entire lineage. You got the big cons to the right and left. You got Mama Hawako. Yeah. But then you got Charles V. That's the first European. All right. So we know, we're starting to see clearly, right? Before they switch their images from this Naga to what they call here albino, right? Yeah, man. This becomes Charles. Look, now this is Charles V. Right? Now this is Charles Kento. Wow. All these people are swarthy, man. All of them. Because they went through such great heights to change it, man, that you got to at least assume that all of them had to be. Or else they would have went with real history, but they didn't. This is look like the homie Twan on the block, man. Swarthy Spaniard kings. Swarthy King Charles. Swarthy King Charles, Holy Roman Emperor, King of Spain. And the Portuguese, King of Portugal, Swarthy. German Jew, most striking with personality, skin as swarthy as a Spaniard. Swarthy as a Spaniard, right? Okay. So are these swarthy people, is the question. Are these swarthy people just kidnapping and putting Esteban in this slavery, into this captivity? What y'all think? These swarthy people got Esteban the Moor in captivity because of some more Christianity beef, and he led them to the promised land over here, and they're venerating him as the child of the sun, Saint Stephen Church. This is who they venerated. Esteban the Moor. Is there more Jesus, man? Mustafa? First African-American known to have arrived in the present-day continental United States. Don't that sound good to the layman? Don't that sound good to the layman? First African-American known to have arrived in the present-day continental United States. Or more, or this began the story of Esteban, one of the first Black conquistadors. And they said one of the first Black conquistadors. One of the first Black conquistadors. You know why they had to say one of the Many first black conquistadors, man, because there was many. It's the King of Portugal. He's looking for the Prester. For 500 years, they searching for Prester John. Can't make this up. They've been hijacking all throughout the script, man. You got Moab, Israel, Joshua mowing them down. This is why they mad, right? You got the mad air popping off, necromancy. They trying to tap in to Leviathan to put the magic on us so that they can make us devour ourselves. Give us hijack straw man, invent opposites so that we killing ourselves, whether politically or in the street. Separate the red from the blue. We can't reach the purple crown, but crown is Esteban, right? He's the king. Let's go, Aqua. Shamar, let's go. Stephen the First of Hungary, right? Also known as King Saint Stephen. So he's a king and a saint, kind of like a priest king, right? 930, 975 to 8 or 1038. Let's see what they say over here. Let's go back. 969 to 1038. So they're matching them up. And does he have children? Yeah, of course. He's the father of Arpa, Arfa, Gazella, Princess of Hungary. Khan, Saint Emmerich. All right. So they kept that Arfed title going. Arfed. Like they're all about the Arfed flow. What's it got to do with the Syria or Assyrian flow? What's that got to do with Moab is the question, man. Because they just popping off St. Stephen's Day. Stephen was crowned either on December 25th. We're talking about Stephen the Martyr now. Or excuse me, Stephen of Hungary, because he's the king, right? He's being crowned on Christmas. Okay. New battles were fought against tribes and chieftains who remained somewhat independent. For example, his uncle Goyula the Younger. However, in the end, King Stephen succeeded in converting the Magyars, Magyars, to Christianity and unifying the entire Carpathian basin. He also protected the newborn kingdom from foreign invaders. King Stephen died on August 15, 1038, and was buried in his new basilica built in, can't even say that word, it's crazy, man, and dedicated to the Holy Virgin, together with his son Emmerich. Stephen was canonized on August 20th, 1083 by Pope Gregory the Seventh during the reign of King Saint Ladislas or Laszlo, sound like Lazarus, huh? For bringing Christianity to Hungary. He was later deemed the patron saint of Hungary since Queen Maria Theresa reigned in 1771. This day has been a national state and church holiday. Unfortunately, because of the religious nature, the celebration of St. Stephen's Day was secularized during communist times. The Communist Party tried to strip the holiday of its nationalistic importance, and from 1045 to 1990, the holiday was simply known as Constitution Day. So that's another key. We look up Constitution Day. We know the basis or the roots is back to Esteban. What's it got to do with the United States American Constitution? Commemorated the foundation of the communist regime. All right. Today, the holiday once again celebrates the nation's patron saint and the foundation of the Hungarian state over 1,000 years ago. Again, they're going back 1,000 years. How do we know that 1,000 years is where it appears? How do we know that Hungary is right there in 1,000 years ago? You know what I'm saying? A lot of times these places are being duplicated over there. It says King Stephen succeeded in converting the Megars, man, which, brings us to this Megar flow that Aqua Shamar been dropping, man. 7 chieftains of the Megars, man. I mean, we just surfing away. 7 chieftains of the Magyars, Magyars. 7 chieftains of the Magyars or Hungarians. Okay. Okay. So the Magyars are the Hungarians. Almost sounds like the Gog and Magog, Magar, leaders of the 7 tribes of the Hungarians. 7 tribes. At the time of their arrival in Carpathian Basin, AD 895. Okay. Constantine the 7th, Emperor of the Byzantine Empire. Recon the Byzantine Empire and the connection with Mazaka, because Mosak, we're talking about Moses, Mosak the founder, Cappadocia, all this goes back to Moses, but they're hijacking it, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's all happening. So remember, the Byzantine Empire was taken out 1 year after 1453 Papal Bull, 1452. 1453, they take out the Byzantine. Names the 7 tribes in his De Administrando Imperial, a list that can be verified with names of Hungarian settlements. The names of the chieftains, however, are not precisely known, as the chronicles include contradictory lists, some of which have been found to be false. So there's some falsehood going on about these khans, about the chieftains. Are they being hijacked like the Inca? Aqua Shamar popping off. If she don't mind, I'm going to pull up a little something I shared live in the ether in the Shabbat show. Hey, after all my Naga surfing the wave live in the ether. You know what I mean? She first brought us into the Hungary link. I'm gonna follow, just gonna follow my Aqua with this one, man. Okay. So she brought us into this link, this August 20th flow. She said, you reminded me in the episode he does share the Christmas holiday with JC. Then I was like, if that's the case, what is Hijack City celebrating about this dude on August 20th? He was crowned on Christmas Day. He was buried with his son on August 20th. Yeah, he important to the hijack. It sounds like the formation of the very kingdom of Hungary. Well, these are all Nagas, right? More and more war. Oh, yeah. Okay. And she dropped this screenshot here. I got it. Let's see. All right. Let's get right into it. The 2 relatives engage in a bloody war, with Stephen finally defeating his enemy with the help of both foreign knights and native lords. The conflict has been adapted in the Hungarian rock opera Stephen the King, Esteban, a chorale, trying to jack that Cara title, huh? Following this clash over the throne, Stephen was crowned December 25th. Okay. And then she took us to this link here. She said, this is all linking in with this Ladislas, the bald, Ladislas, Ladislas, the bald. Okay. I don't know about this, but it's sounding like we're going back to that Arpad family. member of the House of Arpad. Okay. A grandson of Toxani, Grand Prince of the Hungarians. He is the only brother of Azul, a rebellious duke. Why they call him rebellious? Who was blinded on the order of their cousin, King Saint Stephen the First. Dang, so Stephen blinded him on his order? Medieval chroniclers, in their effort to conceal the kings of Hungary, were descended from a prince condemned by the saintly first king, wrote that instead of Azul, Ladislas was the Hungarian monarch's forefather. Mm, forefather. So they say, these two modern Slovak historians write that he was Duke of Nitra, Nyitra, under Polish suzerainty or suzerainty rulership, but this theory has not been universally accepted by historians. Ladislas was a son of Michael, who was a younger son of the Grand Prince Toxiny, according to Hungarian historians, including Gyula, Gyula, Christo. He was the younger of Michael's two sons. On the other hand, Steve Hubel and other Slovak scholars write his brother Vazul was younger than him. Their mother name is unknown. Okay. Related to Samuel of Bulgaria. Her two sons' names was popular in the Samuel's family. Then we're on to the Giza flow. Man. You know what I mean? So there seems to be, just varying testimonies as to the genealogies, man, when it comes to the Stephen flow. They both come from Toxany. So Ladislas was what? Cousin? Since Stephen's the grandson of him, so maybe they're just cousins, you know what I mean? But now you got the Bald family. And then, but notice they got these Solomon names and they try to put a little Hebrew flow in there. Crystal writes that she may have been a member of the Rurik dynasty from Kievan Rus. This is how they linking in, and this is how you get from Russia to America real fast, right? This is how you make the Hungary connection to the Rus connection to an American connection. And just like the Moors would claim everything, they would also claim the Rus lines, and they would also claim all this, right? It's all under the great family, the Moor family, which is also the Mongol family, because the Rus are also the Mongol or the great ones, the Hungarians, the Huns. These barbarians are also Barbers. Berber means swan. They're also swan knights, and he had help from knights, and Presta's rocking with the knights. Swan Knights, Solomon the Builder, Sylvanus to Texas. It's a lot of history. What else do Aqua say, man? I mean, this is amazing. Recon Aqua. Was he warring with the Rus? Was he warring with the Rus? Did he take the title of Rus? Check this wiki out. She said, I'm reading some thread flow from the Aqua Shamar. The trail of family of Esteban lead to some with the title Bald. He was a cousin to Saint Stephen. Bang. Made me think Elijah too, and more on more war, cousin on cousin, except they called the cousins the pagans. What did we just say? They calling us pagans, right? As always, his cuz had him blinded. Remember, Stephen blinded him. But they said he was rebellious, right? Man, he's the only known brother of Azul. Oh, a rebellious duke. That's Fazul. Oh, yeah. So Fazul was blinded on order of Stephen because he's rebellious. Why? Because he wanted to keep the code. Why they call him a rebel? Did they fake his death and give him a kingdom like they faked JC death and gave him a crown? Whoa, like the grave, like they gave JC. He gets the keys to the kingdom after his death and his crown on the birth of JC. He's their martyr by design, Aqua say. He is the king, their king. We're the four knights, the knights of, or were the four knights, the knights of Columbus, carrying the Christ child across. We're about to get on that St. Christopher, because Columbus happening in 1492, selling the ocean blue, is the same as their St. Christopher happening back in the 200s, man. Another 1300-year shift. Because St. Christopher's carrying a child across the river. He's known as the patron traveler of saints back in 200 AD. And it says he didn't know this child was the Christ child until the child revealed it after the journey. Did he get healed of his dog-headedness? Are we just talking Columbus? Did Esteban cure Christopher Columbus of his dog-headedness? Was it temporary? That's why he still died of syphilis or cynocephalus, or they call it gout disease. Carrying the Christ child across. And are the native lords the Moors? I might be popping off. Aqua, you definitely popping off. All right, so, we've been digging all this Stephen the First of Hungary flow. Starting to see clearly. And how does it relate to the Holy Roman Emperor? We're talking Hungary, right? Stephen established at least one archbishop, 6 bishoprics, bishoprics, and 3 Benedictine monasteries, leading the Church of Hungary in Hungary to develop independently from the archbishops of the Holy Roman Empire. So they developed independently, but it's still the same family. Now, which Roman Empire were they separating from? I mean, yeah, you got the Western joint, you got the Orthodox this and that. And we know that the initial Remani, since Roman means pomegranate, Reman in Hebrew, the initial Reman, you're just talking about the code keeping Hebrews before they stole the title Roman. So was the first Roman church Remani? The real Romani? And all these duplicates all about JC. He encouraged the spread of Christianity. So all these Stephens are bringing Zeus, Zeus, Jesus. They're keeping their Zeus. They're keeping their Jupiter, even if you call him Yahweh Shai today. You got to see the system that went into you calling this dude Yahweh Shai. You just calling it a Hebrew version of Joshua, right? But your Joshua led you to the promised land, my nigga. He wouldn't even promise to come back in 2,000 years. You're not venerating some separate character of Jesus or Yahweh Shai. It's the same Esteban. Phantom and duplications in a New Testament with a new tune. No, we keep our code. We keep our ancient love song. Man. Okay. All right. We popping off. Interesting link right here. Let's see if I got it. Aqua is popping off. So I want to look at this mycatholic.life flow that the Aqua dropped. St. Stephen of Hungary. Okay. He's martyred. Baptized by his pagan father. Made king by the Pope. His heirs demolish his legacy. St. Stephen of Hungary was a warrior king whose silhouette stands. See, they can't make Stephen the apostle the warrior king, just like they can't make JC no warrior king. Jesus ain't no warrior king. He didn't go to war. He said, render unto Caesar what's Caesar's, man. Yahweh Shai didn't go to war for you, but he promised to. Revelation say he coming back strong, boss. Our mama is our revelation. Our mama's at the right hand, not your JC. You pushed our mama off the seat and you put this guy who's always been there. He's the right hand. Where's mama? Saint Stephen of Hungary was a warrior king whose silhouette stands proud on a far distant horizon as the sun rises behind him. At the dawn of the medieval age, his year of birth can only be guessed, as ancient chronicles give conflicting dates. His father was of that generation of rough pagans who had to confront the new vibrant force of Catholicism. So they got a vibrant force, an excellent new tune according to the Selling of Joseph by Samuel Sewall, 1780 something, love to let us find the truth. Yeah, they brought us an excellent new tune. They brought us a vibrant force because we just dead, right? Got more life to it, right? No, it got nothing but death. Esteban Nico brought them decorations of death. That wasn't a vibrant force. Catholicism, Christianity are weapons of death. All of what they're pushing are weapons of death. His father was out of that generation of rough pagans. They brought us a vibrant force, which challenged the old ways of paganism and its local gods who satisfy local needs. So you almost got two versions of this Christianity stuff, right? Who they call pagans, they were still rocking with openly venerating their Atlantean gods, openly venerating their Greek gods, Egyptian gods, openly venerating their Zeus. They called on Zeus directly, right? The Christian calls on Zeus as Jesus, right? As Jesus, as hey Zeus, right? Hail Zeus, right? They teach you to call on Zeus a little different than they call you a pagan for not going with the shift. Say, look, we're trying to hide our gods. You're a pagan. You're still worshiping the old ways of paganism. We have a new way, boss. You can't call all your gods by their names. You got to call them Jesus. We got to call them apostles. Man, the Mediterranean basin had long been Christian by the 10th century, but daring missionaries had only recently penetrated deep into the wide plains of the Magars, Bulgars, and the vast land of the Rus that lay beyond. We just talking Russia. Talking Russia, which means what? The Rus or Clan Seol Andreas. The Andrews Crest, that's all you got to put in. No studio tricks, just Andrews Crest, and you will get images of the Rus. Okay. These Negroes didn't take over power. They always had their title. They always had the Rus, the House of Rus, Russia. It's named after this clan Seol Andreas. They call it. And Rus. Yeah. There's a swarthy depiction when they're being honest. And you're going to find it over and over again. And when you're looking for, we're talking Scotland. Yeah, we're talking Hungary. We're talking Scotland. We're just talking Andrews, man. Over and over again. A swarthy depiction. I knock it. But then they want to wear you like t-shirts. They want to wear you like a shirt, man. They want to wear the Andrews crest, man. They want to rock the Andrews, man, like a football team, right? Andrews surname. So you see what it's looking like, right? You see what it's looking like with the Andrews, huh? I said, you see what it's looking like. Okay. This ain't no studio trick. These are the roosts that we're talking about that they're going to war against, possibly, right? This Stephen of Hungary. This is why they popping off, because they went to war against Israel, because the Rus are connected as kindred to Jerusalem. They are the tribes of Israel, Manage. They are the Ibaru. Wow. Magars, Bulgars, and the vast lands of the Rus. Kiev and Rus, Clancy all Andreas. We're coming back to the pigs. Let's go. Yeah. So they're challenging the old ways of paganism, and they're challenging Israel, calling it old ways to call on your Hebrew power. They want you to call on Jesus now, right? That Christian dawn in Eastern Europe is when our saint first comes on the scene. Yeah. King Stephen took to his duties as a Catholic king. He founded an enormous Benedictine monastery, numerous dioceses, mandated one tax-supported parish with a priest for every 10 towns, built a shrine to the Virgin Mary. Yeah, he's just in code, ain't he? But you the pagan, which became the sacred form for the coronations and burials in the kings of Hungary. The sacred form is from the blood of Jesus, right? Jesus' mama, the Virgin Mary. It gets real deep. The Aqua said he didn't die. I know. He just went over there and started a kingdom based on Christianity. My Aqua surfing away. Because I promise you, I'm just reading this with y'all, and just connecting in real time. It's happening. You know what I'm saying? And the Aqua's connecting before I'm connecting. So we just said that, right? We said, did he just slip away and go pop off and be venerated as king? And they're just throwing it around in the timelines because this is what they do to confuse us. This is what they're doing. Just as Stephen had feared, once the mighty king died, all his accomplishments were neglected because he wanted to establish a Christian state. Okay. Most of his children died as infants. One adult son, his heir, died in a hunting accident. Chaos and civil war raged for decades after his burial. The two ostensibly pagan kings who succeeded him were apathetic or even antagonistic towards Christianity. The fruits of Stephen's Christian efforts rotted on the tree, just like JC. Hung on a tree, Acts chapter 5, and his immediate legacy dissipated. Eventually, order was restored in Hungary. Stephen's greatness was recognized. He was canonized in 1083. And think about what's happening around 1083, man. You got Joshua popping off, man. You got Quetzalcoatl popping off, right? The real Joshua. And this is what they're putting in the timeline around this Stephen the Christ business. Stephen their Christ, child of the Son, Esteban, right around Joshua flow, right around the Quetzalcoatl flow. He is now a revered saint, founder of the Hungarian nation. The Huns, the Goths, the Vandals don't have a nation today. So again, we know it's connecting with the Huns. Man, this is tribal war. more and more. Over time, these pagan tribes were absorbed into the stable cultures. They invaded, they melted, and they melted into the many nations and identities of modern Europe. The Magyars, however, did not disappear, merge with other peoples, or melt away. They have their own nation, language, culture, art, and history. They are the people of Hungary. Yeah, okay. Now you just hijacked another title, and now you're hiding under these tents. They didn't disappear. We're right here. We're right here, boss. No, you're not the same tribe as you are pretending to be. This is identity theft. They are the people of Hungary. Stop it. And they owe their entire identity to Saint Stephen. So their Saint Stephen Church is about the Hungary flow. Another Saint Stephen Church is about the martyr Stephen, apostle of JC. And then you got the real Esteban Eco flow. And they're just out with it like, nah, we venerate Esteban the more. You know what I'm saying? Aqua said, man, he started a kingdom based on Christianity. Thus, the article says he outlasted all the other tribes to become a nation to this day. Saint Stephen equals Stephen the First of Hungary equals Estebanico Durante. Wow. We did it. He's Arpad II, known as Arpad from the Magyars tribe, last Grand Prince, 7 chiefs over 7 cities of gold. Oh, man, I got popping off, man. I'll leave this link for you that she dropped. The ancient identity of the Hungarians, the Hungarian Hebrew connect. Oh man, she's going crazy. Man, I mean, this is a victory lap. I mean, Aqua saving us a lot of work, man. The myths, hypotheses, and facts concerning the origins of people, the ancient identity of Hungarians, the Hungarian Hebrew connection. Crazy, crazy talk. This is from IMNINALU.net. Pull up the link, man. Wow. Is there any link that relates with each other peoples that apparently are quite different? Is it there any relationship between Sumerians, Hurrians, Mitanni, Habaru, Hyksos, Kassites, Chaldeans, Medes, Quarmians, Scythians? Man, you see all these. But they got the Alans. Remember the Alans and the Ossets? Right? Now we're talking about the Georgian dynasty. David Soslan in there. And we got the Huns, the Magyars, the Khazars. We know the original Khazarians are Mazakins following the Moses, the founder, the Mexica, right? You got the Mexica lineage all throughout Peru, connected with Mosak right over there in the so-called Byzantine or Russia, land of Rus. Damn near all of Asia over there is Russia, man. That's a big landmass, right? So that's connected through the Strait of Antioch to North America. Man, can these people having different origins, namely Cushitic, Semitic, Japhetic, converge into an ethnogenesis of a single modern nation? The answer to these questions is yes. So they bringing it in, you know. I mean, it's cray. This is the case of Hungarians, a non-European people of Europe, and their enigmatic connection with the Hebrew people. So they call him the first king of Hungary, right? But is he the first to hijack the Hebrews there? Or in this Rus situation? Did he go from over here to over there, start hijacking these niggas, get named their new king in town? In fact, Hungary has not only been one of the most important centers of development of Jewish and Romani. Reman means pomegranate. Joshua had to get the pomegranates to prove he's in the promised land. We're just talking about the Hebrew people. We're in America, boss. We're in America, boss. That's why Esteban's story is so important because it ties in the American truth behind their Saint Stephen, both of them. Wow. Okay. Oh, Hebrew blood flows through the veins of non-Jewish Hungary. Stop it, man. These people are on some play. But this is a great link, man. And, see what they connected, man. And, I'm just, skimming it over quickly, but, they're bringing in the Scythian flow, bringing in Nimrod. It's a lot to it, Aqua. And I appreciate you for giving us this drop, man. Just the fact that they are even thinking about this connection lets us know we're on the right flow. Scythians, what's it got to do with the Amazon? What's it got to do with Asher, man? What's it got to do with Asher and Dan? I'm just, it's a lot of drop on here. I wish I had time to read it all, Managa, but that's why you got the link. What's it got to do with the Amazons? Herodotus asserted that the Sarmatians, were the offspring of the Scythian males with the Amazon female warriors, boss. And the Scythians can also be called the Scots. And the Scot is all over this crest flow. Scotland, right? So these Scots can also be called the Skith. Princess Scotia, Khan, all Ibaru. All Ibaru. All right, man, you got the links, man. I mean, you see how good it's all connecting. And, these are all separate researchers. And we're pulling it all together, man. Drop Nation's pulling it all together, man. Oh, man, some good drop. It's a whole nother drop, matter of fact. But it reminds me of some of the drop by Hancock, Graham Hancock. Yeah. Okay. Honor Magor. What's it got to do with the Magi? Oh man, I'm just belly flopping. They went into Zoroaster on us, man. So I love this drop though. I mean, it's hitting home, Agua. So I'll be digging on it. Y'all dig on it. Both of them were also Israelites. See, I told you they're bringing in Zoroaster, man. And the Hurrians, which is all connected with this Hun flow. And Magi flow. And the Magars are also Magi, not just Gog and Magog, but some will call Magog originally a Magi flow as well. This is crazy, man. It's crazy talk. Arfad kind of also reminds me of this Arpakshad situation. The Habari, Hebrew, Habari. Okay, man, this is crazy. Because now you're getting a lot of ARPA situation. A lot of ARPA situation. This is deep. I mean, you see how much drop is in here, man. This is amazing. I mean, they bringing the Hungarian flow right to your door. What you gonna do? Knock, 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 knock it. We gotta look at Hungary a little differently. Aqua broke it down. So Tawada, Aqua, Shamar. Oh man, I mean, it's more than enough drop to continue. Looking for, this. Really just trying to solve this mystery that they really tangled up in time, man. We're gonna talk some time right quick, so you see it ain't no play when it comes to pushing these timelines around. Another drop on these Magars. Byzantine source mentions that the Magars are also known as the Saber, who originated from North Mesopotamia or Mesoamerica. Okay. Which was referred to as Suber Ki by the Sumerians, who also originated from this land. Numerous other ancient and medieval sources also referred to the Scythians, Huns, Avars, and Magars as identical people. All the same. So the people of Hungary are the people of Scythia connected with the Amazon flow, the Avars and the Magars or Magi. Following the settlement, this is 9th century of Jewish talk. We're about to talk time, man. Jewish refugees from Northeast and the Khazar Empire. We're talking Khazaria, or originally Masaka, the ruling dynasties of the Khazars, another Tauranian people, is converted to Judah, okay, and seeks to impose the religion upon all its subjects. This precipitates a war, civil war, which leads to the collapse of the Khazar Empire. Several rebel Khazar tribes joined the Hungarian Tribal Federation, which was led by the Magyar tribe. So the Magi were leading the entire Hungarian Tribal Federation. At the time when the Hungarians were established in their own independent state. All right. Popping off. Then they moved west. It's a lot of swarthiness going on, man. It's a lot of swarthy fighting going on, man. I see a lot of swarthiness happening around here, man. I mean, obviously it gets deep. He says, Torah says, were all the gods of Arphad still being worshipped on December 25th with a blood oath to this very day. Present day Hungary linked to the Medad and Nimrod, their founder would take part in the blood covenant. The founder is none other than Stephen I. So he pops off this blood oath. From medievalist.net, last one will share the origins of the tale of the blood drinking Hungarians. My God. Wow. And they call us pagans, right? They calling us pagans. So this is excellent recon, so you can get this origin and see where it's leading. Right back to the Hungarian flow, right back to the Hungarian king, the 7 Hungarians. Originating from the 13th century, written in Latin, also mentioned the covenant of blood and the 7 princely Hungarians, though not disapprovingly. So they didn't disapprove of this blood drinking. I wish to investigate whether the covenant of blood was truly a specificity of Hungarians who conquered their present homeland, and from what source, anonymous, the unknown author of the Gesta got his information on that contact or contract. Next, each of the above mentioned men let their blood into a vessel for leader Almos, in keeping with pagan custom, and sanctified their oath by it. They drunk each other's blood. Yeah, we know they eating us, they eating bodies, so why not? And though they were pagans, yet they respected their faith expressed among themselves by oath to their death. The way of as this oath is given here. So we putting something together real important. Hope you're enjoying the investigation. Aqua been popping off. Aqua Shamar been popping off. Naga Hill is popping off. All this connects with the vampire flow, of course, right? Drinking each other's blood. She said it seems like Saint Christopher was the dog head and Saint Stephen the vampire. They did a blood oath. These dudes were in Transylvania. I ain't got no one else to share this drop. I'm finding out. Hey, she said, much aha for bringing it to the tribe. Hey, Habakwa. She said, her Aqua telling me about the author we have to dig on that her series was about vampire hunters. Okay, I think she said the name was L.A. Banks. Had Lillian, Adam, all of them were in it. Now we got to dig on vampires in a whole nother type of way. Remember, we're just talking Esteban. Esteban, the first black, one of the first black conquistadors. Because we know there were many. Portugal. Oh, yeah. What do you think Isabella's looking like, man? What do you think Charles is looking like? One of the many. What do you think all these Spanish, swarthy Spaniards are doing? One of many, right? They had to keep it real over there. The beginning, thus began the story of Esteban, Stephen, one of the first black conquistadors. That means he's mowing down other Nagas, he's mowing down other so-called black people. This is the body bag that this Moor ain't no slave. He's a grown-ass man leading the charge of the invasion, slips away, pops it off in Hungary on the Rus, on the An Rus, converting them now, right? He's the king now. He can live his days over there. He did his work over here. Time to go. They found Cibola, the cities of gold, they say. All right. Let's dig on a little bit of this. Let's dig on some chronology. Let's pop off with some chronology, man. Because you're going to see what we're talking about with these chronological times. Okay, let's get it, man. Back to the flamenco. Anatoly, he's a Russian chronographer, man, that's putting the story together, you know, using astronomy, using all kind of different factors, and he's finding the phantoms and duplicates. He said something important, man. My wave surfers, you already know, they pushed us back. So think about St. Stephen, and we're going to keep the conversation going. Let's go. We'll just pick it up from here. Let's go. I'll translate. But the authors of these chronicles were living not only in different countries, but even at different times. They spoke and wrote in different languages and used a different calendar. So they make it like it's an accident. Different authors, different places. Pay attention. Not surprisingly, in telling of the same king, right? Stephen the King, city or battle. They gave them totally different names. You got Mustafa over here, Esteban over here. You got Stephen the Martyr over here, Stephen the King of Hungary over here, Esteban de Dorentes, Mustafa al-Zamori over there. Therefore, when the chroniclers in the 1500s to 1600s, ain't this what we talking about? Ain't this hitting home? Ain't this hitting a little different now? Even if we got this back in 2017 or something, we're still surfing a wave with me. I'm still surfing a wave with you. And Aqua Shamar, let's go. Therefore, when chroniclers in the 1500s to 1600s read these records, they decided that they were talking about four very different errors, or they purposely put them in different places, speaking of the same person. Child of the Sun, Stephen the Christ, Stephen the King, Estebanico. 1500s is Swarthy Charles time. It's Esteban time. This is Estebanico time. Wow. Watch this. Instead of putting these accounts simultaneously on the time axis, they arrange them in sequence that is one after another. But they're telling of the same account, same Esteban. They're dropping it off in different places. They're going to go back to the BCs and go all the way to the ADs. How many time shifts? Bang. They left one chronicle in the 1400s, or in this case, 1500s Esteban. A second, they pushed back 300 years, right? Or in this case, now we're talking about Hungary Esteban. And a third, they pushed back, but wait. A second, they pushed back 300 years. A third, 1,000 years. And a fourth, 1,800 years. This is just on average, give or take, right? So you this lets you know it's possible that you can have a chronicle of Estebanico in America getting martyred in Hawaku, New Mexico, the Zuni Cibola complex. Cibola like Shimbala. You can have that. You can have another Esteban in the 900s, man. You can have another Esteban way back in the year one. You can have that because this is how many times they're dropping the timeline off. They're dropping so-called history off. They're dropping people off. You got King David in the BCs, right? Then you got this King David flow in the 1200s, right? And in the 1500s, right? You got all these chronicles, but where's the original? They're saying that the original is most likely happening after the 900s, and really after, these 13, 14, 1500s, 1600s, and they pushed one back to the 1200s and pushed one back to the 900s, 700s, BCs, man. They left one chronicle in the 1400s, Christopher Columbus, pushed the second one back 300 years, and a fourth back a third back 1,000 years, and a fourth back 1,800 years. Now you got Saint Christopher the Doghead in the year 200. You got Moses the Black around 200 or 300. You got Moses in the BCs. Then you got Mossack the founder out of this Cappadocia, Byzantine, you know what I'm saying? Khazaria. But before that, it was called Mazaka or Mossack, another Moses. If they would push, if they would push kings back on a regular, if they would push history back on a regular like this, my nigga, this is what we're talking about. Now you got a JC popping off and such, BC to AD, but that's just a replica of Joshua, who Moses laid his hands on and brought you to the promised land. That they gave you a New Testament with a new timeline, with more recent, or their duplicate activity. We don't know what's what. Phantoms and duplication. Now we in 3 BC. They say Christ is born 5 BC. And Saint Stephen the Martyr, 5 AD. something like that, man. But that was just pushed back to the BCs and early ADs. We just talking the 1500s still. Now you put them all together, you got this super long history, but it's all compiled of the same context, the same history from the 1500s, from recent times. Now they've created history. Now they've added 1,000 years. Now they've added all this time so that they can paint their new tune and write books on it with reflections in it and false idols and give it to us like it's new. Just stretch it out, push our stuff back. When you push something back, there's a void. They fill the void by pushing your timeline back. It's like having a blank sheet of paper now because they pushed you off the paper. Now they can paint whatever they want on that paper and teach it to us like it's facts. So I'm gonna leave the link so you can understand the mathematical statistics that Anatoly Fomenko's popping off, where he's been doing great work. His whole team been putting this chronology together. They come at it from a Russian or Russian, at least you know, still with their hijack mentality, but they at least are coming at it trying to gain some level of truth to it, but they still got to insert themselves. You got to look at it and insert you, my nigga. So you ain't seen it through their eyes, man. This is all we talking about. For the man, go. By the time you got this Stephen the First popping off, the year of his birth is uncertain, they say. But he's crowned king on December 25th. Died August 15th. Venerated August 20th. Okay. It's the largest firework display in Hungary. She originally dropped this drop on these meteorologists that were fired because they claimed it was going to rain and it didn't. They canceled the parade. They canceled the St. Stephen parade and they got fired for messing up the largest, firework display in Europe, the most popular holiday in Hungary, and it got their head of meteorology, whatever, fired, man. So we dropped that in the ether, man, and they take this real serious, and that got the aqua popping off. Like, who are they venerating August 20th? Why is all this fireworks popping off? You think it's play? Man, this is Hungarian State Foundation Day or Saint Stephen Day, man. You think it's play? Remember, just like 4th of July, they're worshiping death, they're worshiping war, they're worshiping Zeus, all that bang, 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 thunder, thunder, thunder. They're worshiping Zeus. It's the same person. Yeah, Hungary celebrates this day, man. They go crazy for it. They don't care about your 4th of July. You are copying them, don't you see? They brought this here and they mimic the same celebrations, but they put them on a different day. 4th of July, we'll do ours on our Independence Day, but they're still popping off the same type of Esteban celebration. Yeah, they're going crazy. They're going crazy, man. Every blast you hear is another indigenous Naga or another Naga of Rus meeting their cannon fire, man. we see clearly what's happening. Oh yeah, they got St. John's Day, June 24th. Okay. We looking at all these days that they popping off with. Now, this link is crazy, man. Just doing some digging. And there's a whole, they called it a fictional story, but this author's putting all the drop in it, man, for it to be a fictional story. We're going to get this and get on these cartoons, man. We are solving a mystery about Saint Stephen, Estebanico, al-Zamori, Mustafa. It's an interview, Layla Lalami. Just click the link below. And, she wrote this piece called The Moor's Account, my nigga. All right. I think it's a great piece for us to dig on. Anybody got the drop on this? Let me know. El Moro, El Negro, Estebanico. Yeah. The Moor's Account is a remarkable, unique piece of historical fiction. Why can't it be fact? It tells the story of an enslaved African who was part of the Narvaez expedition to conquer Florida, right? First black conquistador, right? All right, let's go. Cabeza de vaca, ain't that like the head of a cow? So we still talking cynocephala, even with this cabeza de vaca. But let's get it. She gives him the name Estebanico or Mustafa, son of Muhammad. Yeah, more and more war, right? Abdul Salam al-Zamori. This is not the name history remembers. Of course, history only records his enslaved name, which means crown. History remembers a fiction, the lie that was told about this human being. So she's coming with what they call a historical fiction, but she's actually coming with some interesting questions that nobody's really addressing. And I like this drop. Let's go. The lie that was being told about this human being by the people who sought to call him a slave, an object, a piece of property. His given name may not have been Mustafa, and his father's name may not have been Muhammad, but his name certainly wasn't Estebanico, and he did have a father. As a novel about a person who history has worked to erase and forget, the Moor's account demands that we ask ourselves this question: when history remembers a lie, what does it mean to write a historical fiction? Bang, ping, pal. If history is going off this lie, how could they call this historical fiction? Man, well, let's get it. I'm just belly flopping in it. This is, I guess the lady that wrote the Moor's account. Okay, maybe she's popping off right out of Morocco. They want to talk about Mustafa. I'm just jumping right in it right here with you. Oh man, where we get? Let's see. Let's pop off, man. Right about here, man. The question is, there are also more random things. For example, his father is a notary, but Mustafa wants to become a merchant instead. That's a very unnecessary story in the terms you're describing. Yes, I could have started the story right when they landed in Florida, ended it when they arrived in Mexico. So she is basing it on a true story, right? And it would be a straightforward retelling of Cabeza de Vaca, but I didn't want to do that. I knew all along that I wanted the story of the Narvaez expedition to be a story of his of his life story, if not his entire life. That he had a life before and after, right? So after, are we picking up the Hungary flow is the question. What we know about him starting from 1536 onward is something that comes to us from the Friar Marcos de Niza, who was sent by the Viceroy of Mexico to explore what is now New Mexico. Okay, so that that's another secondary source about Mustafa. This guy was never really able to tell us his own story. So I don't know. I just had to do it. I wanted this to be a part of the larger story of him. And you're right, it wasn't necessary to the story of the expedition, but to me, it felt like it was crucial to do that. No one who had taken an interest in him from the research that I had done had taken an interest in what had happened to him before or afterward. Aqua Shamar wants to know, did he pop off as the first king of Hungary? Let's go. Stephen the King, huh? His role in these articles and books is confined to what happened to him with the Narvaez expedition. One of the things that interested me about him is that everyone who wrote about him wanted to claim him in a different way. So at the beginning of the 20th century, there were, check this out, there were some African American scholars, right, that had become interested in him as well because he's African. And they wanted to, in a sense, almost demonstrate that Africans had played a role in New World exploration or invasion, conquistadors. Now they have to say, should we distance ourselves from him? Because now we're really saying that we invaded other so-called black people, African Americans. But he's really the first African American, if you're just talking about their story of him being this Moroccan, popping off, leading these Spaniards over here and all that. Leading Bernal Diaz in them, right? Niza in them. So they first tried to claim him, kind of like the Kalelos artifacts, the Jewish in 1925, New York Times first wrote and said, yeah, we have swords with dragons on them in Arizona. And they got Hebrew writing. Then they said, ooh, we can't say nothing because that's not us. There are no Jewish over here that are the Toltecs, Sylvanus Toltecs. Now we got to say Columbus wrote up on us. How do we say that, boss? How do we say we're the Toltecs? How can a Jewish person today claim to be the Toltecs, indigenous of America? That's just they can't wear them garments, man, right? So they just put the artifacts under the museum, the Smithsonian. They bury these artifacts with Hebrew on them in America because they can't claim to be it. They hadn't converted yet. They didn't convert into 8th century under King Bulan. They can't claim to be these ancient knights with swords in America. They tried to claim Esteban first and say, hey, he's a powerful African. He has something to do in finding a new world until they realize it's the old world and he's invading it. They said, oh, we don't want to associate with the conquistadors. Too late, boss. Because Africans played a role in the new world exploration. Moors played a role in the invasion of the Hebrews in Anion and Corveria, and Kalelos, Cibola, 7 cities of gold. And so he became the God through which they could make that proof. They used him to prove that they had a major role in the new world invasion. So to me, that is very interesting, she says, because she sees it clearly. How could you claim to be a conquistador as a Naga? Even if the Native Americans weren't so-called black people, that's still pretty messed up that you're involved in that much genocide. Africans, Moroccans. You know how much genocide followed Esteban? That's why they can't deal with Esteban. There are different theories about him. There's one that said he was not at all Moroccan. He was from sub-Saharan Africa. Why are they pushing way down to South Africa or sub-Saharan? And to me, that was a bit far-fetched, a little bit ignorant of Moroccans because people assume that Moroccans are all light-skinned and and that's just not true. So because he was a Naga, right? He was black. They said, oh, no, he's not from Morocco. He's from sub-Saharan Africa. Don't associate him with Moroccans, because then that lets them know that the Moors are behind this and that they are so-called black people too, just a different tribe. Now we got Israel, now we got Moab in there. Of course, there are Moroccans who are black. Oh, really? Thank you, because this is what the current Moroccan is looking like. They don't even want you to, they don't even want them over there to look like what they look like. They've changed the identity of all nationalities. And if this is not an indigenous Moroccan, then who is she? If the Mexican that looks what you would consider Mexican today is not the indigenous Mexican, then who are they? If the person that says they're from Central America today is not the indigenous person of Central America, who are you? It's a game of musical chairs, man. Everyone's switching seats to hide the nogginess of things. And even when you get back to that, then these Moors got to start hiding because they can't answer how they can be conquistadors and indigenous to America at the same damn time. They're in a crux. They're in a paradox, boss. So I'm going to leave this because, we're going to come back to this one. Yeah, there's black barbars because barbar means swan in Hebrew. You're talking about the Swan Knights under Sylvanus to Texas, but they're not connecting Kalelus. He didn't need to be from outside Azamor. We are told that he's from Azamor. So I just took that as my starting point and went with it. And I never do that. In fact, in this book, the major kingdom at that time was Fez. The word Morocco comes from Marrakesh, and that's another kingdom. It just wouldn't have been correct anyway. He's just from Azamor. So we're getting some Morocco drop. We're starting to see clearly. Another link from DouglasLacey.com. Esteban, in his own words, his name was Esteban. He was a rare breed for sure, a black Moroccan slave. I don't think so, because they were all Moors. This is the cover story. Celebrated, right, for his exploits. Celebrated, venerated, worshipped. Saint Esteban, Saint Stephen, the martyr, for his exploits or his conquistadorism alongside Spanish explorers in the Americas, that he also survived a disastrous voyage, became a gifted interpreter, a trailblazer. All that contributes to his street cred even now. He came to the New World 1527 on a Narvaez expedition, a mission intended to further colonize northern Mexico and seek out new land for conquest. New land. Star Trek. At this point in his life, he was not on anyone's radar, essentially a nobody. Yeah, okay. I think he came from royalty. I think he was chosen, and they put a cover story on him. Esteban's master was Andres Dorantes. Cover story. A stern Spanish nobleman and captain of the Gracia de Dios. His ship was one of the 4 caravels sailing on the final leg of the undertaking with soldiers, conquistadors, and colonists aboard. The expedition departed from Seville 9 months earlier, and by February 28th was headed due west out of Cuba in the direction of present-day Tampico, Mexico. The journey was never expected to be a cinch, but during the crossing from Spain to the Caribbean, it was plagued with adversity. There were desertions after docking in Santo Domingo. There was a loss of 2 ships from a hurricane in Trinidad, and 60 men killed and 1/5 of the horses drowned. Even after reestablishing the fleet and wintering in Cuba, they set sail again, only to run aground on an archipelago at low tide. All right, man. So they kept getting jammed up, but the hijack just kept going. The creator didn't make it easy, but the hijack was vigilant, right? Man, I mean, this is a good little link. It got a little something on everybody. I want to get this last piece they got on. They call it the last hurrah. Yeah, the scout. Yeah, we had scouts. Esteban the spy. His ability to interact with unknown tribes and community was uncanny. Esteban had ability to hijack these tribes. Yeah, he spoke Arabic, Portuguese, Spanish. You know, he spoke Hebrew. Man, it seems apparent that Esteban had been personally endowed with rare linguistic affinities. We had the Negro talk to them all the time. He inquired about the road we should follow. They didn't call him the Indian. They didn't call him the Moroccan. They called him the Negro. In short, about everything we wished to know, he got all the drop. We came across a great variety, a number of languages. They could understand us and we them because of this Negro. That's from Cabeza de Vaca's account, chapter 31. But soon, but they soon began to hear from Indians who were afraid of the Christians on horseback. But he made them neutral. Remember how you slay the blue marvel? It's with neutrality. Hey, you get this drop. You see how much drop there is. I'm just popping off, man. And this is a good one again, man. Get the whole thing of the last hurrah. I'm just belly flopping it with you on out, man. It's pretty much allowing us to put the pieces together. So did he escape? Now, did you get away? Well, that's one historian's viewpoint. Let's go back. After leaving Vacapa, Esteban decided to disobey Marcos's order, Marcos Niza, to wait for him 50 or 60 leagues further along the trail. Instead, Esteban put as much distance as he could between himself and the friar, and it seems likely that he decided to escape. Was it a plan? Was it a ploy? He had become a Sumerian, a samurai, a runaway slave. Okay. But it had always been curious that Esteban put a goodly number of miles between himself and the friar, so many miles, in fact, that it would take a week or more for Marcos de Niza could hope to catch up with him. At long last, Esteban's Indian messengers sent back to Marcos an announcement that he had found the first city of gold. My Naga. This is why they made a cover story. They say they didn't find nothing. That was a lie, which was in actuality the multi-tiered pueblo that the Zuni Indians themselves called Hawiku or Ha-Wa-Ka. From the comments ascribed to Marcos de Niza, it would appear that Esteban himself may have been responsible for the Spanish christening Cibola. Esteban himself brought the Spaniards to Cibola, which means Shimbala. We're talking cities of gold, Shimbala. Cibola means promised land. He carried their ass to the promised land, huh? Ain't that right, Esteban? Ain't that right, Esteban? Didn't you do it? Oh, Esteban popping off, man. Real time. Oh, yeah. Okay. Because once you start asking the right questions, I mean, hey, who knows what kind of answers you going to get? Who knows how it all starts to come together until you really start asking these questions? All right, let's get it from here, man. The Zuni Indians were farmers and traders, and many other tribes knew about them, had traveled there. Their unique city was indeed an impressive sight. Ancient pueblos of multi-level houses built of rock and clay, wooden ladders, unlike any other in the experience of the discoverers. But to the Spanish, it was something of disappointment. It was, it wasn't modern or sophisticated. Do you think they telling you the truth, boss? Because this is in all of their stories. The Cibola is on their maps, right? We're talking Utah, we're talking Arizona, and they give you these Pueblo pictures, and like they were disappointed. But what really happened? But all the knowledge of Esteban's death relies on the believability of Marcos. The needs of the Indians were never interviewed, and several researchers now have their doubts. Up for grabs are at least three outcomes. Okay, here's some theories about what happened to Esteban. Did he go to Hungary, man? What's going on? Esteban was killed by the Zunis for one of several traditionally cited reasons, foremost among them the claim that Esteban overstepped his bounds by coming on to the women. Then they said he tried to steal their turquoises and stuff. He tried to take the women from the Nagas, man. The Zuni council suspected he was a spy. Well, he was. And they beheaded him, quartered him. Or Esteban died in battle after his Indian support came to help, or Esteban appeared by sneaking away to Hungary. Agua Shamari popping off, man. I mean, these are their theories. What do y'all think? Coronado's letter to the Viceroy, 1540, about Esteban's fate, the death of the Moor, right? You think they had a Moor slave, right? Do you think they had a Moor slave? It's a certainty because many of the things he was carrying have been found. So they just found his stuff. The Zuni Indians told me they killed him here because the Indians from Kikatakali told them he was a wicked man and not like the Christians, because the Christians did not kill anyone's women, but he did kill them. So he was killing these people's women, killing their women, and also because he was touching their women, whom the Indians love more than themselves. The Naga love their queens, therefore they decided to kill him, but they did not do it in the way that was reported. That's from the documents of Coronado's expedition, page 262. Did Coronado really believe that Esteban went around touching and killing the women? As if to contradict himself, just two paragraphs later, he explains about the lying, dissembling, and equivocating he found to be common among the Indians. Now they liars, especially concerning the source of Zuni gold. Remember, you Nagas is worth more than gold, right? Coronado left Hawaku a few weeks later and followed his Indian guides all the way to the Great Plains of the northern continent in what is now Kansas. Kansas. He never found the seven cities of gold. Do you think they would tell us if he did? And now they're getting on the same book we were digging on called The Moor's Account, where she was like, yo, this these people wanted to claim him, but they were just trying to claim him to prove they had something to do with this exploration, but we know it's an invasion. Yeah, his skin color now in the new history, he can't even be a brother no more. They gotta change him. They gotta change him to protect the lie. Man, there's so much great drop in here, man. We just talking about Mustafa, and again, Ahab to Aqua, Shamar, for keeping this flowing, man. We needed to get this indigenous truth this way. And I mean, it's really popping off. And back to this Leilani interview, somewhere in here she also talked about the car and Kahawa, these Texas Nagas, how Esteban was going to war with them. So these car and Kahawa were also fighting Esteban in it, man. For Lalami, storytelling is a primal struggle over power between the strong and the weak, between good and evil, against forgetting in this novel, which can be sympathetic or simplistic in its construction of heroes and villains. The villains always has white skin. Europeans conquer, enslave, and erase and are beyond redemption, while the Moors and Native Americans are a people apart. Not in this case. The Moor is the European. The subsequent European emperors of the Inca, man. All these Nagas, man. Yeah. Oh, Charles is the first European emperor. Yeah, Charles. This is the European, my Naga. Found here by the European. Copper colored Nagas found here by the European. Right? Okay. American. Copper colored races found here by the European. Who's the European? Okay. Esteban, right? More and more war, right? Okay. Europeans, while the Moors and Native Americans are people apart. Got you. I mean, is that how it's going? Oh, here we go. The Lami's conquistadors are not heroes. Some of them, like the young Castilian who was murdered by the Karankahawa. What does the Karankahawa got to do with this? We just got a whole drop on the Karankahawa. Go get the drop. Digging on their Juneteenth, man. Go get that drop. So the Karankahawa chief for the crime of having appeared in someone's dream are simply soldiers who enlisted in a war they didn't choose, suffering from someone else's evil. Just digging on this keep saying these Native Americans and Moors are people apart. Yeah, because they're invading, I think is what she's trying to say. They are invading. Oh, it's complex. Relationships between Moroccan slave, Spanish conquistadors, and Native American tribes. Got you. Europe's conquer, enslave, and erase, while Native Americans are people apart. Oh, she just threw Moors in there. Last time, almost all the blacks are victims, but not this time, huh? Now we seeing another side of these blacks, huh? I mean, someone else is kind of sniffing around on this perspective, and I think that's really the key part that we're getting from this, man. It's crazy, crazy talk, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. I'm just reading along with you, man. I'm just reading along with you, getting ready for next time, because there will be a next time. Because these Moors seem to be running up on these indigenous knockers. Seem to be a more and more war happening, man. And that would make them invaders and conquistadors. It's straight up hijacks. Just straight up hijacks. Man, some good job. Okay, okay. All right. Yeah, she keeps saying it's complex, man. It's real complex. And they were just saying this whole town of al-Zamori, they were going through all these droughts and all this famine and all this stuff happening over there. So Hawaii was cursing their ass, man. They was being cursed over there. They came over here trying to get some drop. This is what they got as a bronze depiction of Esteban, man. Crazy talk. Okay. All right. So you got these links in their own words, man, in their own words. What does all this got to do? Real quick, St. Stephen's Day. We already know. You got the Hungary flow. You got Stephen Amar. Then you got Esteban. St. Stephen's Day. You got Saint Esteban de la Sierra. Yeah, a whole village dedicated to Saint Stephen. I mean, they just rocking with Saint Stephen, man. Saint Esteban has historical written records from the 12th century, okay? When some families came to the area looking for water to move their mills, those families settled here and founded a Jewish quarter, or were there Hebrews already popping off? The Christians refounded the Christian village upon the site of the old Jewish quarter and emptied after the expulsion of the Jews and the Muslims in the 15th century. They built on top of Unagas, man. St. Agatha, St. Stephen, they got a whole feast about it. Then they got a feast of Christ the next month on September 4th. You got these links, man. You pull them up. We're just talking about this Esteban worship, who is their Christ. St. Stephen, he dies 34 AD. Come on. JC dies 33 AD. Okay. December 25th, Christ's birthday, Virgin Mary pregnant with her son. Boo, 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 right? Then you got Hungary, St. Stephen, he's crowned on this day. Then you got actual St. Stephen's Day, December 26th. And then they celebrate him again for the summertime, August 20th. Patron saint, December 26th. Many countries, December 26th commemorates the life of St. Stephen, a Christian deacon in Jerusalem who was known for his service to the poor and his statutes as the first Christian martyr. Just like Esteban gets martyred. And what happened to Stephen of Hungary being venerated on this day too? He's crowned, right? St. Stephen died. All right, now they say 36. Okay. His defense of the faith. All right, so Esteban's over here defending the faith and gets killed. Okay. By Jews, right? Right. Stoned to death. Gotcha. Apostle. All right. Esteban, but now his name got it connected as Greek. Complained that the care of the elderly widows was neglected by the Hebrew-speaking majority. Neglected by the Hebrews. He went up against the Hebrews and got stoned. Yeah, man. He led them right to you, boss. He led them right to you. And lastly, is he Stephen the Christ? The martyr, right? I mean, the story is, right? You got St. Christopher, he's carrying this Christ child on his shoulder. And there's all different variations of this St. Christopher story. But is this St. Christopher the same as Columbus? They put him 251 AD. Remember Anatoly Fomenko? They're dropping it off in different times. Same story, different time in the timeline. Extremely tall, they say, was St. Christopher. A man of significant physical stature. That's funny. Yeah, I think he does. Because he's also the dog-headed Saint Christopher. He's this giant reprobate. Did Esteban turn his dog-headedness into something else with magic through a blood oath? Did Christopher Columbus have a dog head? He wrote about the dog-headed tribes. Dog-headed warrior saint, right? Conjures fantastical stories of werewolves, vampires, monstrous races, sinus of phyla. And again, the story is Apollo cursed these tribes, canines. Yeah, I said canines. Canines, boss. Saint Christopher first appeared in Greece, 6th century, and had spread to France in the 9th century. 11th century bishop and poet Walter of Spire gave one version, but the most popular variations originated from the 12th or 13th century golden legend. According to the legendary account of his life, Christopher was initially called Reprobus. Before he's the Christ of Ophir. Ophir is the city of gold as well, right? He's the anointed of the city of gold. Christ means anointed, Christ of Ophir. Initially Reprobus, he was a Canaanite, boss. A Canaanite, boss. Orthodox icon of Saint Christopher, presented as a warrior, sign as a father's dog-headed man of Lycia. So they had these war dogs, right? They had these jackals all throughout the script. These jackals are these dog heads. They brought the dogs on a noggin. And just plainly in Wiki, they say he's a Canaanite. Noble Jew Ali is putting the tribes together of Canaanites, Ammonites, and Moabites. And he's a Canaanite, which means he's a Moor. They don't want to talk about this dog-headedness in their lineage because they were cursed by Apollo or Thoth or Mercury or Hermes, Trigonogestes or Tahuti. Looks like the Anubis flow. With permission of the Pharaoh, they can migrate. Egypt, Atlantis, Canaanite. Man, one day he saw the king cross himself at the mention of the devil. On thus learning that the king feared the devil, he departed to look for the devil. This reprobus. That's all we need to know. This is the devil's word. Who's the devil? Who's the adversary? Yeah, they want to make them all European-ish, they say. Nah, man. You're a dog head, man. Look at these dog heads. They're always popping off with their dog head. Look at this dog head, man. Look at that dog head. Look at these dog heads. Look at the dog head. They say Christ surrounded by cynocephalic warriors. Kievan, this is Russian, Hungarian, Steven, surrounded by dogs. See, even their Christ had an issue with these dogs, man. Remember Matthew 15? Let's get it, man. Let's get to Hijack City, faith of the Canaanite. Remember the Canaanite, just like Christopher, right? Then Jesus or Esteban went and departed into the coast of Tyre and Sidon, and behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coast, cried unto him, saying, have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David. Time out, Sir Zeus. How could you be the son of David if you're an immaculate conception? I'll wait. Say it with me. Body bag, for the illusion. You can't be a son of David because you're not from the loins of David. You're a magical virgin birth, man. You don't have a daddy earthly, right? So you're not a son of David. So why are they hijacking the line of David? Why do they got to make you the son of David if you're the son of God or if you are God? Jesus is Lord. Jesus is God, right? Yahweh is God, right? How could you be God and the son of David and be an immaculate conception? Body, man. My daughter is grievously vexed with the devil. Uh-oh. He was looking for the devil, right? Christopher, the Canaanite. But he answered her not a word, and his disciples came and besought him, saying, Send her away. She cries after us. But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Even Zeus is saying, I only came for Israel. Lady, Christian says, God is with everyone. Your Jesus just said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the tribe of Israel. And they make it a feel-good story. No, he came to hijack Israel. Esteban came to hijack us, not to save us, to hijack us. Then came she and worshiped him. She didn't worship the creator, did she? Oh no, he is God in the flesh. And he's the son of David and an immaculate conception. She worshiped him. That's hijack city. We most high over everything. You see the difference? Lord help me. But he answered and said, It is not meat or good to take the children's bread and cast it to the dogs. This is Christ surrounded by the dogs, sinus of Phala. This lady saying, Hey, my daughter's cursed with this devil. Can you cure her? Can you cure her dog headedness? He said, Man, I can't take what's good for the children and give it to the dogs. Christ with the dogs. Matthew 15. I can't take the children's bread and cast it to the sinus of Phala. Dog heads. She said truth, but the dog heads, the sinus of Phala, eat the crumbs which fall from their master's table. Who is their master? The Moor. Then Ezeus said, Oh, okay, great your faith. Your daughter's cool. I got you, man. I'll cure her dog-headedness. Moving on, right? So this story just popped up about this Canaanite woman and these mother-sucking dogs. Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? There are some other images, for example, well-known images where dog-head men are represented as the barbarian enemies who threaten Christ, who let the dogs out. Even in Ethiopia, they're celebrating Mercurius, which is Thoth or Apollo, who cursed them with their dog-headedness, man. Still celebrating Mercury, the giant Canaanite of Catholic images. Same reality as dog-headed men. Yeah, see, St. Christopher's looking for the devil. He has significant physical stature. That's all they want to tell you about this St. Christopher. Not that he's a dog head, man. Literally a dog head. Dogs everywhere, man. I gotta tell you, man. Dogs everywhere. Look at this. Dog head carrying the Christ child. Look at this dog head, man. Yeah, Egyptian, huh? Yeah, Egyptian, huh? Like Anubis, huh? Look at this dog head. He can't be a son of David. The covenant, I have made a covenant with my chosen. I have sworn into David. He didn't swear into JC. That's Hijack City. You ain't the firstborn. Forever I will establish my seed and build up the throne of your generations, all your generations. You ain't the firstborn, JC. Nah. His seed shall endure forever. You ain't the firstborn. Oh yeah, oh yeah. So who's the firstborn? Who's the firstborn? I will appoint him firstborn, right? There we go. He shall call unto me, thou art my father, my God, and the rock of my salvation. I also will appoint him firstborn, the highest of the kings of the earth. You can't replace him, JC. This is why he says son of David, because David is the highest of the kings of the earth. David is the firstborn. And the covenant with my chosen is sworn unto David. No, you're no son of David. You're a blasphemer. You're a hijack. And you're a doghead. Straight up like that. Straight up like that, man. So, on that note, I think it's fair and a good time to get out of here, man. With a little bit of this cities of gold, fair use in your caboose, educational purposes only, and AHOP to the cons, man. The Wada Hawa, the Wada Aqua Shamar, man. Popping us off. On that note, a Lego. Oh.
From all over Europe, great ships sail west to conquer the new world, the Americas. The men eager to seek their fortune, to find new adventures in new lands. They long to cross uncharted seas and discover unknown countries, to find secret gold on a mountain trail high in the Andes. They dream of following the path of the setting sun that leads to El Dorado and the mysterious cities of gold.
Children of the sun, see your time has just begun. Searching for your ways through adventures every day and night. With the condor in flight, with all your friends in tow, you search for the cities of gold. Wishing for the cities of gold. Someday we will find the cities of gold.
Cities of gold. Cities of gold.
Someday we will find the cities of
Oh, that's pretty.
Inside the first city of gold, Esteban found a great golden condor. Then a volcano erupted, which shook the mountain and destroyed the city.
Or a dragon popped off. So they got golden condors. Managa, this is high tech. Think about Steven and the technology. Think about Atlantis. Think about why they venerate him. Let's go.
Sheltering inside the body of the condor, they try to make its mechanism work using the medallion of the sun. Suddenly, the giant bird spreads its wings and takes flight.
supposed to prove how superior my ancestors were. Come on, Coco Petal, you're a bird. Or do heights make you dizzy like Esteban?
By the way, Esteban, you wouldn't happen to have any idea where this bird is taking us?
I don't know any more than you do.
Oh, hear that? He doesn't know any more than I do. It's been like that from the beginning.
What's going to happen to us? Are we going to crash? Oh.
And you two keep quiet for a moment. You see the condor is following the sun. We're going...
And that's Mendoza, and they're all melanated, even if they're not showing it. Let's go.
due west.
Big bird's following the sun?
West?
Careful, hold on. The condor is losing height.
I'd much rather he gained a little.
Yes, up.
What does it mean, Esteban? I don't know.
Go.
Move faster, you lazy dogs. Search the houses. Take anything made of gold. Don't waste
Lazy dogs, you heard it.
any time. Governor Pizarro is waiting for us.
Captain, what's that?
Ah, a monster! Oh, run! Oh, ah! Did you see that giant bird was made of gold?
It looked as if there were children inside of it.
Go at once and report all this to Governor Pizarro.
Yes, Captain.
Do you see those lines on the ground like some kind of drawing?
Why are they here in the middle of the desert? They really do look like drawing.
What are you talking about? Human beings would never have been able to make such huge drawings.
Perhaps those lines came about naturally. Wind and water can sometimes make very strange shapes.
Look, that one's a big bird.
Have you ever seen anything like it? It's really strange.
Yes, it does look just like a bird.
I don't know whether I should suggest it, but it looks like a giant condor.
That's just what it does look like.
Which means somebody did draw it.
There's another one over there. Look.
And over there, a different animal. Oh, and another.
It's fantastic.
Take a look over on this side, Esteban. Come here. Our condor seems to be following these lines just in front of us.
But somehow it's as if it understood what they are.
It is following the lines precisely.
Come on, Mendoza, that's not possible. The way you talk, you'd think this bird is alive.
All I know is it's going down too quickly for me.
I'd swear the condor is following a course it knows.
Say, of course.
It's not taking any chances, Esteban. We'll be all right.
Get down, life plant! Ah, you two heroes can get up now.
It's all over.
Oh. We're safe and sound. Oh, my head is spinning round. I'm so dizzy.
Oh, and me too.
It's nothing. It's like when you've been on a ship. You get dizzy back on land. I'll take a look around.
And I want to see the big drawings up close. You coming, Zia?
Good idea. Whoa.
After all's said and done, we're still dizzy. We'll stay here.
That's my brave men. What an example.
Hey, bye-bye.
Well, someone has to guard the condor.
The lines are made up from piled stones.
Millions and millions of them.
When the sun's low, the shadows make them easy to see.
That's why we saw them from up high.
But who on earth built these gigantic
To
things?
tell you the truth, I haven't any idea, but I know one thing. The condor seemed to know what it was doing. It flew straight to this place.
On the ground, you can't make them out at all.
I'm sure there must be some connection between the sun and these stones. Just as there was between the Solaris and the golden condor.
Certainly. It came down to Earth precisely as the sun was setting, as if it was losing its power.
Mm-hmm.
So logically, it can fly again tomorrow when the sun rises.
Let's hope so. Have you got the same feeling I have? Doesn't it seem that this place was designed for the condor to come down on?
A landing place?
They don't talk about this Nazca situation related to no high-tech flying golden condor, do they? It's being real swept under the rug about this high-tech.
Let go, my purse.
What's going on?
Golden snake. They're inside.
A golden snake, and it's alive?
They're right, it does look like a snake, but...
Careful, Tao. I'll see if I can move it. Move. Oh, the snake wasn't here before. What did you do?
Well, I sort of...
What, Sancho?
Well, Pedro said I should take the medallion of the sun.
Oh,
These two idiots stole the emblem of the sun, and they've started something moving.
no,
They must have hit it trying to get it off.
I'll try and see what happens. It doesn't do anything.
What if you try lifting it up? Go on.
That's done it. Oh. The lever has disappeared.
Now I'll try to force it in.
Look, it's starting to glow.
That reminds me of something. Let me take it.
Wait. My goodness. Like a real bird.
It can move to the right or to the left.
Look, even the tail of it moves.
It's just as I thought. This lever that looks like a snake controls all the movements of the golden condor. We can make it fly.
We could fly. We can make it go anywhere we like in the sky.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
That's really fantastic.
Let me pass. I have a message for His Excellency.
What is it?
Excellency, a man from Captain Lucas's company.
What does he want?
He claims to have seen a great golden bird flying in the sky.
Am I hearing you right? A golden bird? Send him in.
You go in.
So, you say you saw a golden bird?
Yes, Excellency. The bird was bigger than one of our ships. It had the shape of a condor and flew slowly through the sky.
Condor as big as a ship and flying, is that it? Huh?
It's the truth, Excellency. All three of us saw it. Captain Lucas, too, I swear it. And on its back, it was carrying children.
There
there were children with it?
What wild story are you telling us? You're all gone crazy. Been in the sun too long.
Just a moment.
My apology.
Are you absolutely sure that you saw it carrying children?
Yes, Excellency.
Manuel, saddle my horse immediately. I must leave here at once.
Your Excellency.
I would never have believed the story about a great golden condor if you hadn't mentioned that it was carrying children.
But Excellency, I'm afraid that I don't quite...
Esteban, Zia, and the other one, the child called Tao. He is the crafty one, devious. If those three are mixed up in this, anything is possible. But this time, I promise you, they won't get away with it.
I'm flying. It's fabulous. All of you, look at me.
What
I'm flying.
fantastic scenery.
Oh! Lucas! Where's Lucas? I want to see him at once.
Who goes there? Oh, I beg your pardon, Excellency.
Well, Captain, what is this then? I have been given to understand you and your men saw a golden bird.
Yes, just before sunset. It was heading towards the Nazca Plateau.
Now I've heard everything. You know where it went, yet you stayed here?
Well, I thought it might be better to wait until daylight, spend the night here. Ah!
My army, there is no night and day. We'll rouse the compound and take the horses and leave now. We'll bring back this giant condor and the children.
Yes, Excellency. Wake up! Everybody wake up!
Come here, Andreas. You will take me to the Nazca Plateau.
The plateau is not far from here.
Hi-ya! Hey!
Listen, Coconut.
Tell him to be quiet.
Get up quickly. Pizarro's soldiers are here.
Pizarro. Oh.
What? What is it?
Back inside the Golden Condor before they get here. Sancho, wait up! Everybody, take cover!
You cannot escape! Come out of there and surrender! You are surrounded!
What do we do now, Mendoza?
Oh, meow, 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 meow.
There's nothing we can do in this desert.
But Mendoza, we can't let Pizarro take over a great golden condor.
No matter what, we must save it.
You think getting inside the bird would save us? They'd kill us there.
Decide, surrender or we attack!
Don't shoot, we will surrender. You understand, if you want to stay alive, do as I say. All the gold in the world is no use to us if we get ourselves killed.
We must decide ourselves. What do you think? I say we follow Mendoza.
Then come on.
I don't believe my eyes. A giant golden condor.
Your Excellency honors us coming to see us in person.
I am pleased to find you again, Mendoza. And delighted to see that you have taken such good care of the children, just as I ordered. As talkative as ever. Tell me, where have you found this superb bird? There must be other treasures there.
No, I assure you, Your Excellency, we found only this condor. The city of gold has vanished.
Vanished? The city of gold? You take me for a fool, Mendoza?
But, Your Excellency, he's telling the truth. The city of gold was destroyed in a big earthquake.
Coming from you, even the truth would sound like a lie.
That's true.
Now on paper they say they didn't find it, right? And then it's saying all we found is a golden condor and the rest vanished. So did it vanish or did they not find it? For the dismount.
All the same, whether you like it or not, in the end you will tell me where the cities of gold are. But now I would like to see if you can fly this bird through the sky.
Nothing could be easier, Excellency. If you would permit me, I will show you how it flies.
Not you. Esteban will fly it for me.
But Esteban wouldn't know how to.
I don't trust you, Mendoza. You would try to escape, and I might never be able to catch you. But Esteban, I trust him. You don't come back, I will take Zia and Tao and chop off their heads.
Oh.
See, Mendoza, why I have absolute confidence in our little friend Esteban. Look at the expression on his face. Go ahead, Esteban. Show me how. Fly, your golden condor.
Obey him, Esteban, otherwise he may do what he said.
But how?
And just like Esteban and St. Stephen, you got Tau that's being venerated as St. Thomas. Thomas is the Tau.
Cannot.
Listen carefully. As soon as the sun begins to rise, put the medallions of the sun in their place.
But when the sun starts to rise.
Do it.
Yes, Mendoza.
Stop muttering.
Love to dizzle fitty yourself to real for that St. Tau drop.
Captain, move the prisoners some distance away. They might be tempted to escape when the big bird starts to leave the ground.
You heard, His Excellency.
Just as the sun is rising, remember?
Now it's up to you, my boy. Show us if the bird can really fly.
Yes, Excellency.
Now, listen carefully. As soon as you see the sun begin to rise, run quickly to the golden condor, but keep your eyes shut.
Eyes shut tight.
Yes, it's very important. Keep your eyes shut and run straight ahead.
Mm-hmm. I hope everything goes all right for Esteban.
Be brave, Esteban. Be brave.
Thanks, Cocobello. I'll try to be.
Here we go.
This is it.
Remember, this is a grown-ass Moor, not a kid. He's a Moor.
Come on, close your eyes and run.
Or we shoot.
High tech, high tech. High tech, high tech, high tech.
Hurry up. Get in, quick.
Oh, no.
Oh no, oh no, boss.
Don't let them get away. By the purple plague. Take them alive. I want them alive. Go on.
We made it. Come in. Inside, quickly. Start flying, Esteban, as fast as you can.
I can't do that. What about the others?
You really want to fall into Pizarro's hands again? You have no choice. Take off immediately. What are you waiting for, Esteban?
I can do it. I'll try. Fly, my great bird. Fly. Save us, please. Fly.
Will you let go of that? Mendoza!
Stop! Stop!
Not quick!
Hold on to us. I've got you now.
Come back here! Oh, they've slipped through our fingers again. You will pay for this, Mendoza. You will pay. I'll catch you yet on those confounded rats. Nobody will keep me from the cities of gold.
Here we go. To the right.
Now try turning to the left to see if that works.
At your orders, Commander. And to the left. You
We now know exactly how to fly the Golden Condor.
What a superb machine. The people of Hiva must have been very intelligent.
It means that we can fly anywhere we want in our Golden Condor. Anywhere we want. Go on, fly, fly, my big bird.
Uh-oh.
The Golden Condor carries our friends back to the high peak. But Gomez and his army attack the Incas. Can Esteban and his companions save them?
Gomez and them attack the Inca that Charles end up hijacking. First subsequent European emperor.
Make sure you see the next episode of The Mysterious Cities of Gold.
In Peru, some 300 miles away from the capital city of Lima, is the desert plateau of Nazca. From the air, you can see quite clearly the famous Nazca lines. These extraordinary drawings traced out across the desert are said to have been made some 14 centuries ago. But their marvelous shapes weren't discovered until this century, when people first saw them from the air. Down on the ground, all you can see are some irregular long ditches, which might have been carved out by the wind. It's only from the air that you can decipher their shapes. 800 drawings have been found. Birds, monkeys, dolphins. Each one covers some hundreds of meters of ground. There's nothing like these drawings anywhere else in the world, and one can't help wondering just why they are here, and why they were made, and who on earth made them. It's all something of a mystery.
I mean, it's crazy because if one fits the Golden Condor, then the other might fit other high technology.
Some people think they might be some very elaborate giant calendar or star map. And it has been noticed that on Midwinter's Day, the sun sets precisely in the direction of the very longest straight line. But how could those people of so long ago measure out these lines and make them so straight? They had no sophisticated instruments. One of the straight lines is...
They had no technology, but they had flying Golden Condors. This is Atlantis, right?
5 miles long. How could they have seen what they were doing? They didn't have airplanes. There are some people who believe they must have been made by visitors from outer space. Certainly, we don't know enough about the people who first drew these amazing designs on the desert floor. Goodbye. Till next time.
Till next time, boss. At the water, my noggins for tuning in. You see what it is? You see what it is, boss? We're going to get back on these dog-headed tribes, man. This dog-headedness. 33 AD, 34 AD. Who is Saint Stephen? And do you think he was a slave or rocking with King Charles? Till next time, my noggins. Stay up, suit up, choose up. Peace and power to the tribe. And let's keep the recon flowing again. Ahab Aqua Shamar for allowing us to have a deeper perspective with this Hungary flow. And we got a lot of Hungary to talk about. The water to the cars. Shalawa.